This is Bruce Williams reminding you to stay tuned to WIBC for the Neil Meyer Show tonight at 10, only on 1070 WIBC. We go down to Spokane, Washington. It's a lovely part of the country. Hello there.
Good morning.
Hi.
I'm the owner of a rental property, I'm sorry to say.
You're sorry to say, huh?
Yeah, I am. I've had the house for 10 years. It's been a rental for 8 years, and as you know, the market is flat, so selling it hasn't been a good option.
Washington, though, is coming back.
Well,
a lot faster than the rest of the country.
Yeah, Spokane seems to be picking up a little bit, and I have listed the house to sell it. But my problem is I have renters in there who have been in there a year and all of a sudden aren't paying their rent. Now, this started prior to me listing it, so it has nothing to do with the sale. And I'm feeling real frustrated that the law's in their favor and I can't get them out. Well,
you can get them out, but it's going to take a little while. Have you started eviction proceedings?
Yes, I have.
How long?
It's going to take at least 45 days.
That's pretty quick. In some places, it takes 6 months.
Is that right?
Oh, it's most certainly. And some places, 3 days.
Well, I gave them a 3-day notice to pay or quit, and which is ridiculous paperwork because it's got no teeth.
Absolutely.
So they kind of just laughed and said, yeah, so what are you going to do about it?
Well, you call your attorney and get them evicted.
Well, and now I have to go through an unlawful detainer act through Supreme Court.
Well, see, hold it. There's no point in going through this litany because you see it varies from each state.
Okay.
What they do in Washington is not necessarily what you can do in Nevada and so forth. But the point is that without question, in most jurisdictions, the law is biased toward the deadbeat rather than the landlord. Now, there are people listening saying, yeah, but all you landlords are rich and fat. And I know you sound rich and fat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. But, you know, that's like the same bunch of people out there who are saying, oh, those rotten corporations, they're getting away with murder. Who the heck are the corporations but people like you and me that own stock and our pension funds? Isn't that true?
Yes, that's true.
I've never met a corporation that breathes or bleeds.
No.
It's people like you and me that own securities or have retirement programs or whatever, so that, you know, but there's a conception of all the landlords are rich, and as I say, I know that's true in your case because you sound rich to me.
Oh, sure.
Sure. But you got to live with it.
Well, it is real frustrating. You know, I'm the owner of the property, but I have absolutely no rights or control over it.
That's true. And if you were to shut the utilities off or cut the water off so they could use the John, they could sue you successfully.
I know. I considered doing that until I read the law.
Can't do it.
What do you suggest I do? Just go through?
You're going to have to go through the procedure, absolutely. You don't have any choice.
What happens if they go away this weekend and I go move them out?
How do you spell stuck? Oh, if you move their stuff out?
Yeah.
They're going to have an action against you, and they'll beat you. The judge will give them damages. I mean, conceivably, can be construed to be criminal. They're also going to say that half of their stuff is missing, that, you know, everybody knows that they had a dining room set worth at least $50,000.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Isn't what they're doing to me criminal?
In my opinion? Damn
no,
right.
Damn, by the law.
The law, no.
It isn't. It's theft. He asked me what I wanted him to do, go rob a bank, and I said, well, why not? You're stealing from me.
What did he say to that?
He just laughed and said, well, I'm going to stay here until I can find somewhere else.
He's just saying, I don't have the money, it's your problem, right?
Right.
Don't you love it? I mean, you see but the law is saying, well, after all, there are people with problems, and that's true. But why should one segment of the population, in this case the landlord population, support another segment? If it is in society's interest to take care of these people, let society do it as a whole, not you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change things. The answer is call your attorney, get the sucker kicked out.
Okay.
Good luck, honey.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Frustrating, I know that, because I'm playing landlord right now. This is Talknet. Santa Monica, California. Hi there.
Oh, yes, we're here, Bruce.
You got it, kid. Let's get it on.
Well, we're a couple of your nobodies, and also for your statistics, our 24-year-old son listened to you once or twice at our insistence. Now he's hooked.
Well, I'm delighted.
We've all sent cards, too.
That's terrific. Thank you very, very much.
We enjoy it tremendously.
Super. What's going on, kid?
We have an ocean view lot up in the central coast of California, a beautiful spot, and it's zoned for home building and so on. We have a trespass problem there.
You mean people want to use the lot to go hit the beach and that kind of stuff?
No, it's some distance from the beach, but they use it. One of our neighbors in particular, who's very much involved in real estate and knows everybody and the whole schmear up there, has been parking vehicles on it.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
And what how big a lot is this?
Well, the level part is about 50 by 125.
Explain that to people who are non-Californians. They never understand that.
Okay.
I got a feeling you're right on the side of a mountain here.
That's exactly right. That's what makes it a view lot, because the down portion that extends down into the canyon, the total length is about 198 feet.
Straight?
Well, not straight. No.
I know.
It's angled.
You walk in the first floor and you're on the fifth floor when you look out the other side of the building.
Right. Well, the beauty of it, of course, if someone were to build there, which we might do eventually, would be that nobody can obstruct your view of the canyon and the ocean. Not
unless they have a hell of a high-rise.
That's for sure. So anyway, this guy started parking vehicles, and last year we thought this isn't good because he can gain what do you call it, right of way there.
Well, probably not. But there's no reason. There's no reason to allow him to park there unless you want to allow him to park there.
Well, we would have worked out something amicable if we could, but he became very belligerent when we asked him about it. So
what did he say?
Well, the first time, which was last year, I don't want to repeat the words, but he felt that we weren't, he wasn't doing anything wrong, and it was up to him whether he wanted to or not.
Up to him?
Yeah. He's up there and we're not, so he just drove on in. Anyway, we had a local workman put in a couple of wooden posts and some chain link in between, and reflectors and so on, saying no trespassing. And then we sent this gentleman a letter saying we would just appreciate his not putting any vehicles on there. We didn't want the responsibility.
Stay off our property.
Right. So we went up there last week, and sure enough, the posts had been knocked down. Even though they were embedded in cement, they'd been broken off. And his truck is parked there, his pickup. So we, again, we waited around. He came out, and he was very nasty when we asked him to remove his truck. And one of the other problems with having gained access to it is that youngsters in the area are built a ramp and are riding their bikes up and down, jumping them. I'm afraid, that would be responsibility on our part.
That's absolutely true. We had a kid in our neighborhood killed doing that.
Well,
broke his neck.
What can we do to protect ourselves against these violations? Now, let me tell you what we did.
First of all, what I would have done when his car was there, and I'm not telling you something I have done exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Yeah. I'd have got me a huge telephone pole or something similar, and I'd have chained it right on his bumper with my locks. So this car ain't going nowhere for a while. Alternatively, I would have called a local tow service and got the thing towed away, which is clearly your right.
Well, we thought of the second alternative. The thing is, we're still trying to be good neighbors.
No, you're crazy. How can you be a good neighbor to a bum?
Well, we found that out.
He's presumptuous.
Exactly what you're saying. He came out and he said things he shouldn't have said to both me and my wife, and he was totally unreasonable. And the guy is the kind of guy who bowls his way through. So we decided to have a local workman again come in, and this time we're going to embed some metal posts into the ground with cement and a heavier chain and post it and hope that might do.
Well, you know what I would also do is I'd make a deal with a local towing service. Or you have to smear somebody a little bit, all right?
Right.
And you say, look, post it, little sign saying the cars will be towed, illegal, and then have him say, you can tell the guy every time he drives past there, if he sees any kind of a vehicle, you have his permission, your permission. The guys that do the towing for the local cops, because they got to be thick-skinned.
Yeah.
But there's guys out there, they have size 25 necks. They don't mind.
That's the kind of guy it takes.
They don't mind. They'll put the hook on anything just to make it there $50 or $75 to retrieve it, plus storage.
Well, the thing we've discovered is that he's one of these powerful, good old guys who knows everyone at City Hall, and you know, there have been some kind of ripe odors coming from some of his deals, but he just merrily goes on his way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hoping not to tangle with him, but also I don't want to be pushed around.
Well, it would appear to me you already tangled with him.
Yeah, well, that we did by now because the latter alternative came in, and we decided we had to take our stand somewhere.
Most utility companies will make available old telephone poles to you, and you put those on the ground and stake them in.
Right.
You got to have some kind of a four-wheel drive to go over the top of those things.
Yeah.
And clearly, you ought to break down the kids' ramp. If you can.
Oh yeah, we've broken that down.
I would hope that you have liability insurance on this property. I hope.
We listened to you. We bought an umbrella policy.
Good, but that specific property should be insured.
Yeah, that specific one.
That specific property, absolutely.
I'll have to check with my insurance company.
Absolutely, particularly in view of what's going on now.
Yeah.
Good luck, kid.
Is it possible to ask you something else about this property?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me take a little time out here, get caught up, and yeah, we'll continue. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a friend in Santa Monica, California, who has unfortunately a lousy next-door neighbor to his property. Go ahead.
Yeah. The other thing is that this lot was worth, according to the realtors up there, about $200,000 for building. Now it's when we were up there, they said, well, property has dropped off, and it's more in the neighborhood of 1.5. But they advised us because there is a slow growth kind of initiative up there with the lack of water and so on, that we should go ahead and have it surveyed and submit plans as if we're going to build.
Absolutely. To protect your development rights, because if there's a water problem, whatever, they may have passed a moratorium and you'll be sitting there be worth nothing for the next 10 years.
Right.
That's what they're telling you.
Well, that's essentially, I guess, what they were saying. So you would agree with that?
Absolutely.
Do is have it surveyed and planned and
I don't know what,
as if.
I don't know what it takes to get in a position where they can't deny you a permit.
Well, we're in fairly good shape because the whole area, it's not a new development.
That has nothing to do with, that has nothing to do with anything. No, it really doesn't. Because they come back and say the whole area has a severe water shortage. Yep. Therefore, there's a building moratorium. Nothing gets built for the next 2 or 3 years, which may or may not be legal, but it'll take you that long to break through the legalistics. It's been done. It's done all over the country.
Right. So the thing we need to do is to get this started as if we're going to build.
Well, I don't know if that's going to help you. It may. You see, but what I'm trying to point out to you is that with some legitimacy, there's the no growth people and the rest of it last minute and close the door. We're not going to sell out here. But clearly, if that happens, the value of your property is going to diminish geometrically.
Well, what the realtor said is even if we don't build, if that is on the property, that goes with the property.
That's true. But whether or not that would accomplish what we're trying to accomplish is something I don't know. Right. It is not just, all I'm trying to leave you with is that taking that action is not necessarily enough. But it certainly is something you ought to pursue. Something in the right direction. Indeed. Bruce, I certainly appreciate you and your program and your solid advice. Thanks very much. Thank you. I wish you well. Right, thank you. Ottawa, Iowa, hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello.
Hi, baby.
Couple of nobodies out here.
Oh, I'm delighted.
Ottawa, listen to you on KFAB Omaha.
That's a killer station.
Well, we have a little problem here. A few months ago, we answered an ad in a well-known magazine for a compact disc club. No, you're going to get 2 discs for like 4 cents.
Well, those are the cheap ones.
Yeah, and
but then you got to buy how many after that?
Well, you have to buy the next bunch, which was 2 more, and then we get a bill for $6.36.
And then you can cancel any time, or something.
Yeah, and cancel any time. So we sent the well, I didn't send the $6.36 right away. We didn't get any more discs. You know, we sent no every time they sent a thing out. So pretty soon I get a bill for $15.58.
What was that for?
Well, they say past due. They say now.
Well, past due for what?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I sent them the $6.36, marked my check, paid in full.
No, wait a minute. Let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Under the original agreement, you only had to spend $6. That was it.
Right. For the first 2 sets of discs.
And that's it. And if you cancel at that point, okay.
So I sent them the $6.36 and wrote on my check, paid in full, which I don't know if that helps any or not.
Doesn't mean anything.
Well, they accepted my check at any rate. Now they're billing me still for the $15.58, and I get a letter from their attorney that says, you know, if you don't answer and contest this in 30 days, why, we're going to take it to court, or we can take it to court, and we'll have to pay court costs, sheriff's costs, and so forth. So, do you think I'm hooked?
First of all, between us kids, huh?
Yeah.
For $15, they ain't gonna go to court.
Well, that's what I kind of
thought. It ain't gonna happen. No way, no how, Just not gonna happen.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't worry about it.
So can they say I have to contest this in writing, and I've made copies.
You can do that. You can send
copies of my check, and I thought I would write on here that I paid it in full.
I wouldn't make hold it.
Okay.
All I would write in was saying, I comply with the original agreement by paying $6 and change. I consider the matter closed.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Take good care, dear.
Listen to you every morning. We are paper relay drivers, so we listen every morning.
That's a busy and a hard job.
Yeah, but it's you keep us company.
Well, I am delighted. Thank you so very much. Get that card in the mail, huh?
Okay, sure will.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I had a problem with a motel we stayed in.
What's the problem?
Well, we checked in. My wife went in and looked at the room. It looked fairly clean. We put our bags in the room and went out on the town to see some sights.
Out there swinging, huh?
Oh, you bet.
Okay.
And we came back I think about 3 hours later and sat down on the bed, and it just rolled right to the middle. Sagged.
How much were you paying for this establishment?
$49 plus tax.
Okay.
So one of the cheaper ones in the area.
Yeah.
And so we went out and took a ride and found another place in the meantime. And I listened to your show, so I knew that I thought we could cancel the...
Well, you already checked in.
That's true.
Did you go to them and say, look, the bed is no good, can I have another room?
Well, it was no vacancy by then. By the time we got back and noticed the problem with the bed, there was no vacancy.
Well, did you ask them if they could correct the problem? Did you give them a shot at that? And what did they say?
They came back with about a 2 by 3 foot hard board to slide underneath the mattress, which basically did nothing because the mattress is going to sag in the middle anyway. So my wife wasn't happy, and we were arguing back and forth with the lady at the motel. And I said, well, we were not going to stay there. So she said, well, she didn't care. We would have to pay anyway, which we decided to leave anyway, okay? My question was whether or not, this being on a MasterCard, whether or not we had the option of contesting the bill because of unsatisfactory conditions there.
Well, see, I'll go with you. Yes, the answer would be generally yes. But the problem is that something as obvious as you've described, if you'd have gone right downstairs after you checked in, I don't think you have any problems. You said you got to pay. You're crazy, lady. This room is unsatisfactory. But you checked in, and several hours later you decided it was unsatisfactory.
Right.
Now, if that was a matter because the air conditioning didn't work at that point, or there was no hot water or whatever, but something as obvious as a problem with a bed, now you could make the point, but yeah, you don't get into bed until you're ready to go to sleep, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think that you're on pretty weak ground with that. I mean, was just totally, you couldn't sleep on it, or you were just aggravated at this point?
Well, we were aggravated.
Yeah, I think that's more of maybe I think you're a gentleman, and I think that's true. You got in a fuss, and you weren't about to let those suckers win the fuss. Okay. But I think this is one you might lose.
Okay, anyway, we settled for half, and...
Not a bad deal. I was about to ask you if you could negotiate.
Yeah, we did.
Not a bad deal. But you learned something?
Yes.
Next time, and I'm serious, when I go to a hotel room, and I spend at least 100 nights a year in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
I check it out first thing. Before the bellman will say, can I hang up your bag, sir? No. just put it right over there. Thanks very much. Get your bucket of ice, and then tip the guy and goodbye. Or hang around just a minute, and I'll check the telephone. I'll check the bed. Make certain there's a writing paper and the kind of things, the room service menu. I just have a regular kind of a mental checklist that I look at before, because I'll bet you 1 out of 5 times I don't like the room, I get changed. It's that often. Maybe something major, something minor. But you got to get the job done right at the same time.
Okay.
Good luck, my friend.
Say, can I ask you an unrelated question?
Sure, go ahead.
We live in an area which is on a airport path. We're about 2 miles from the runway.
How nice.
And so the planes come in. They must be about 2,500, 3,000 feet up, but they're generally straight over the property.
Yeah.
We live in a subdivision. They're talking about extending the runway a number of different ways.
Yeah.
One of which is extending it 2,000 feet to the south in our direction.
Okay.
And there is a neighborhood committee that's making a big stink, sending flyers and whatnot about fighting it and
Let me ask you a question.
property value.
You guys all knew the airport was there before you moved in, right?
Uh-huh.
If you move that close to an airport or a quarry or whatever, that's the way life is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't mind that, but if they're moving it closer in this direction, does that affect the property value?
Everybody in your neighborhood is going to say it does, right? It's not true. It does not. Take a look. You want the classic example of that, and it was the one that's been used over the years, but I mean, their examples are legion, all right? Mm-hmm. When they built O'Hare Field in Chicago, it was in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about, I've seen the overlay maps, the aerial survey.
My son listens in every night when he goes to bed.
Well, thank you.
Got a little problem with the landlord.
I'm sorry?
Have a little problem with the landlord.
Let's talk.
Well, they want to raise the rent. Okay, I'm a small photo studio and don't make a lot of money, but, we're trying. And they've decided they want to raise the rent $2 a square foot.
From what to what?
From $6.90 a square foot up to $9 a square foot.
Okay, that's percentage-wise, that's a very big increase, but in terms of the overall cost per square, it still doesn't sound like a ton of money.
Well,
depending upon the market area where you are.
Right. The thing is, what they want to do is they want to raise it to $2 a square foot, plus they want to include, or on top of that, it's triple net, plus they want to include the common areas.
Is it triple net now?
No.
Let's back up a little bit. Your current lease is round number $7 a square.
Right.
That's it. $7 a square.
Plus my electrical and, supposedly plus triple net.
No, wait a minute. There's no supposedly. Let's start at the very beginning. The present lease that you have as we are having this conversation, not supposedly, what does it call for?
It calls,
$7 a square.
We don't have anything in writing.
You don't?
No. We've been on a month-to-month.
How long you been there?
I've been here 18 months on a month-to-month.
This is in what kind of a space?
Well, it's...
in a shopping center?
No, it's in a professional building.
All right. Now, you're paying $7 a square foot now.
Right.
And they've come back and they want... That's all you're paying is how many square feet do you have?
I have about 918 square feet.
All right, 900, 6,300. You're paying $6,300 a year. Rent.
Right.
Round numbers.
Right.
All right.
And
hold on. That's what you're paying now.
Right. But on top of that, I'm also paying my electrical.
Well, your electrical is a utility. That's not ordinarily included.
Okay.
So that doesn't matter. Your telephone you're paying too, I suspect.
Right.
And the insurance.
Yeah.
So the landlord you're sending $6,300 to.
Right.
Now he wants to increase it from $6,300. Let me see. Did 900? He wants another $2,000 a year rent.
Roughly, plus triple net.
Plus let's explain what that means. Triple net.
Well, taxes.
It means any increases that he has from whatever base is established now, he gets are pass-alongs. Is that correct?
Basically.
Plus, you said there's a common area charge.
Right.
Parking lot, plowing the lot, and that kind of stuff.
No, that's included on the triple net.
Oh, okay.
The common area is the entrance to the building.
Yeah, and what's he want for that?
And the bathrooms.
And what's he want for that?
What I understand is it's going to be the $9 a square foot. But what he's going to do is there's 3 different organizations using this, so he's going to divide that by 3 and then charge me whatever
Well, the
rate.
answer is you can leave.
That's my other question. But
Well, I mean, serious. If you feel you're gonna get a 2,000. Well, let me ask you this: what would it cost to go out and rent 900 square feet in Spokane?
it depends. You can go.
Well, of course it depends. I want to know comparable space. You can rent space in a kiosk in a shopping mall and pay $100 a square foot for it.
Right.
So I want to know for comparable space for doing whatever it is you do, what would it cost?
Well, in looking around, I found that it goes for as much as $9 a square foot.
Yeah, or as little as
triple net.
Pardon me?
But that includes triple net.
Well, how can it include triple net when you don't know what it's going to be, what the taxes will be next year?
Well, no, I've talked to some of the folks and some of the realtors in the area, and I can get for from $7 a square foot up through $9 a square foot or higher, but on the comparable property that I've looked at, it's $9 a square foot, and that includes electrical,
well, in that case, look, hold it. In that case, you're telling me that this guy is charging more than the market.
That's what it's.
Then move.
Well, as a small business, it's hard to do that.
Why is it hard to do that?
Why? Well, I bought into this business 18 months ago, and it had been moved around for like 5 different times.
And what kind of business is this? It's
a photography studio.
Yeah. And people come to you, in other words.
They come to me.
Well, there is something to be said for stability of location. But how many people walk in there and just walk in and, there's a photographer, if you got a florist shop or something, let's go get some roses. But not too many people walk into a photography studio.
Well,
they seek it out. They're going there for a specific reason.
For most instances, I would say yes. In this case, we're in a dental building, and there's some doctors downstairs, and they have a lot of traffic flow.
Well, maybe so. Let's take a little time out and we'll get back together. It's hard for me to believe that being in a high traffic area or traffic in and of itself is that beneficial to a photography studio as contrasted to a candy store or a jean shop or something of that nature. Maybe not. We'll get back in a minute. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with one of our nobodies in Spokane, Washington. He's got himself a photography business, and the landlord, that rogue, is raising the rent, right?
That's it.
Okay. The question you brought down with essentials is the rent he's charging you a reasonable one for the real estate? And if it's not, you move.
Yeah.
But you're leading with your chin. You realize that. With a business without a lease. Now, I understand it's nice because you can pick up and leave anytime you want to. But on the other side of that, he can raise the rent anytime he wants to.
Right.
Anytime things are looking good. There's old Charlie. Hit him another $2.
Well, see, one of the things, Bruce, is originally, we started this back in May. I was going to move to a space in the back of the building, and he was going to try to rent out the front space where I was. Mm-hmm. The problem with that was he needed to drive a 4-foot hallway about 25 feet, so I would have access to the back.
Who wants to walk down a tube like that to your business?
Well, with the correct lighting, it could be nice.
Well, given that set of circumstances, I don't think, that walk-in traffic is a big deal. Anybody's willing to walk down a 25-foot corridor, 4 feet wide, is specifically looking for you.
Okay. Anyway, we were going to do that, and then they decided, I would have to pay for the hallway. Okay, $5,000 for the hallway.
That's nonsense.
Well, I can't believe this is something that they're pushing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, now we're at the point where the other thing in the lease that bothered me, the lease that we were going to sign, was they wanted to raise the rent in 2 years according to the CPI.
Well, that's another thing I wouldn't be anxious about.
Well, that's why I kept talking.
Look, I've only got another minute or so. Let's start with a premise. Now, Spokane may be different than most of the country, all right? Most of the country is overbuilt with commercial space. Is that true in your area? It's a yes or it's a no. If you read the financial journals and the business reports of your area, you know the answer. Do you know the answer?
No, I don't know the answer.
Well, that's something you want to find out in a rush.
Okay, Spokane was, for years, it was so hard to
I don't care about for years. And it's 4 years ago in Boston, the thing was cooking. Now banks are going broke.
Right.
I want to know about January the 7th or whatever it is today. I want to know, if you should know, is there a surplus or is there a shortage of space?
There seems to be a surplus.
Then that tells you your negotiating position is a lot stronger. You negotiate a harder deal or, frankly, move, but this time get a lease. Good luck, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. This is Bruce Williams. Set your clock radio to WIBC. You'll wake up tomorrow morning to all the fun and information of Jeff Pigeon and the WIBC morning team. I didn't mean to be short in my previous caller, but I did have to kind of watch the clock. But you see, in real estate, in business, what you feel is unimportant, really. It's what is. What am I getting at? Well, if I were looking in my area where I currently do some business, for an office, I know 35% of the office space is unoccupied. Man, I'm going to deal. I'm going to bargain. I'm going to negotiate. I'm going to bottom fish because I know those landlords are looking to find tenants. On the other side of that, I own some property, and I also know the fact that it's costing me, I don't know, whatever the number is, $1,300, $1,400 a month in mortgage is not important. I can only get $900 a month rent. Now, I can stand on my head. I can say, gosh, I feel I ought to get more. It's not going to change anything. But before you go out and try to cut a deal, you got to know, which position are you in? Is there a surplus or is there a shortage? Is what you want easy to find or hard to find? Now, if you don't know those things, how in the world can you negotiate any kind of a favorable deal for yourself? But that requires a little research. But you got to be prepared to do that. Otherwise, you will get your pants taken down. Philadelphia, PA. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
I want to tell you, I've been listening to you for years and really enjoy your program.
Why, thank you, sir. What's happening?
Well, I got a question for you. I really want your opinion on an auto lease I've recently terminated.
Okay.
About 5 years ago, I leased a car, a 1985 car. I'm not going to get into the model. The car was fine. I had no problems with it.
For 5 years?
Yeah, I know.
60-month lease?
I didn't listen to you 5 years ago, unfortunately.
How many miles did you put on it in that time?
About 76,000 miles.
Wow.
And I got 18,000 a year, so I was under the limit. And I got lucky I didn't total it, so I was never upside down.
Okay. Okay, so you got out so far?
I skated for 5 years.
Right.
Well, part of the contract of the lease, I guess is standard, requires my payment for any damage that is excess wear and tear, is the phrase.
Yeah, okay. If you burn a lot of cigarette holes in the upholstery and so forth, it's on you.
That sort of thing, exactly. Well, I turned the car in last October, as was stated in the lease, and in my opinion, there was no excess wear and tear. There were no
a car that was a cream puff with 78,000 miles on it.
It was about what you'd expect a 78,000 mile car to be.
Okay.
Okay, it wasn't fresh off the lot, but it wasn't totally destroyed either.
Okay.
Well, I got a bill beginning of November for excess wear and tear.
What did they characterize as excess?
Well, they've got a variety of things, and it's basically little nicks and dents for the most part.
For example, do you have the documentation?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it.
Talk to me.
One of the things they've got is a straight and right rear door. One is...
Well, wait a minute. Straight and right. Now, that could be the car was bashed in, or there's a minor... Which was it?
Well, under the code, they have dent and scratch. Okay, and they got labor of a half an hour, so obviously it was no big deal.
All right, go ahead. What else?
Okay. They've got a left signal lamp lens, which they've got a code that isn't even referenced.
Well, maybe it was broken, was it?
No, there wasn't when I dropped it off.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, and there's a left tail lamp lens.
Was that broken?
They claim, again, I can't find the reference to the code. I know it wasn't broken when I turned it in.
Well, did you do a walkthrough with somebody? We just drop it off and here's the keys, goodbye.
Well, that's the second part of it. The contract of the lease called for a return of the car on October 8th.
All right.
Okay. This was set up 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I moved out of state and called the leasing company and said, I'm looking to return the car as per the contract on October 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, you can't do that. It's Columbus Day. We can't be there.
So how about the day before?
Well, the problem is I'm coming in from 1,200 miles away, and actually I asked them that.
Well, a legal holiday, I can understand. They don't have to be there the legal holiday.
Well,
this will be the next day.
Well, problem is I've got to be back at work 1,200 miles back.
But that's not their problem.
Well, but they signed the contract as well as I did.
Yeah, but that isn't the... ordinarily, if you sign a note, for example, it's due on the 8th, all right? It'll be due on the 9th. If you're not expected to look up holidays when you do a contract.
Okay. Okay. Well, I did try to get with them the day before, or the Saturday before.
And they aren't open on Saturday either.
They refused to meet me with me then too.
They're not open on Saturday.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So we made an arrangement that I would drop it off with their agent, which was the auto dealer I originally picked the car up from.
All right.
Okay. And we went through a walkthrough with him.
Yeah.
He said it looks fine, no problem.
Okay. Did you get that in writing?
No, I didn't. Okay. What I did get from them was their billing with a little place checked off by their inspector that says mileage is consistent with condition.
That's it.
That's it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So what else? How much do they want on this bill?
Okay. Well, they want $450.
That sounds awfully high.
Yeah. I also think that I might finally be in the position of the little guy winning, and that it may not be worth their while to come out of state and get me over.
Well, it's very possible, but is there anything on that list that's reasonable in your opinion? On that punch list. Now let's try to stand back and examine this from some distance. Is there anything on there that's reasonable?
Not really. And going through it, when I dropped the car off, I don't believe that any of the lenses were damaged. There was a dent in the door, but it's a 5-year-old car with 76,000 miles on it. There are going to be dents in the doors.
Well, not necessarily, but what else?
And they've got an exhaust system checked off that calls for replace because it was noisy.
Well,
what the code say. And that was $160 of the bill.
Was it?
Nothing that I ever noticed. And I drove the car for 5 years.
Would you ever change the exhaust system?
I don't believe so.
Well, that might very well have been shot. Where was the car registered? In what state?
Registered in the state of Missouri.
Do they have an inspection system there?
And it passed every year.
Well, in that case, how long ago was it inspected?
It was inspected about a year ago. So it was about coming up due on its inspection.
Yeah, a year is a long time.
Yes.
The exhaust system, they may have something. I don't know that. The rest of the stuff, I mean, at this point, what you're going to write them a letter and you're going to say, I don't agree with any of these things, that the lenses were intact when I dropped the car off, that the statement is that the condition of the automobile is consistent with the mileage you have to roll. This is a 5-year-old 78,000 mile car, and that clearly it is not going to be in mint condition. And this is the reason that I'm trading it in. If it was in mint condition, I'd keep it.
Exactly.
Or I'd have bought it.
Exactly.
But my position is that we are, under the terms of the contract, I delivered the car in reasonable condition. Your turn.
Right. That's my position.
Well, that's what you ought to state.
And then wait and see what happens.
Wait and see what happens, that's all.
Do they have any responsibility on a timely inspection of the car?
I don't know that.
Okay. Because they had it for 2 weeks before they inspected it.
I don't know the answer to that. Your position is going to be, hey, how do I know what happened in 2 weeks? And more important, how do you know? Now, the exhaust system is not going to deteriorate in 2 weeks. Let's start with that, all right? But the lenses and whatever, you could take the position that, hey, this may have happened in what was parked there. What do I know? All I know is when I brought it in, the car was in great shape.
All right. Bruce, I thank you for your advice.
Good luck.
The only thing I ask for you is to get on the air in Philadelphia. I have to catch you either out of Buffalo or Cincinnati.
There you go.
The way the wind is blowing.
Since WCAU ceased to exist in Philadelphia, we have not been on that market, and hopefully one of these days that'll be remedied.
I hope so, because we had you for about 2 weeks between ball games, and then it disappeared.
There you go.
Thank you, Bruce.
I wish you well, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. And what a shame that was. A great talk station, and they turned it into some kind of a half-baked music station. Corporate decision. This is Talknet. Houston, Texas. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you, kid.
Okay. I got a little problem concerning some oil royalties that I inherited years ago.
Oil royalties or mineral rights or both?
Well, mineral rights, I guess is what it would be. What happened is my grandfather owned a farm up in East Texas. They drilled oil on it.
East Texas is loaded with oil.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in East Texas?
Up around the Tyler area.
Yeah, I know Tyler. We have a radio station there. We do indeed.
Well, anyways, here years ago, I inherited these royalties. They were split between me, my brother, and my sister.
Yeah.
And every month on the same day, we end up getting a percentage check from the company.
Yeah. We do or did?
Do.
Okay.
And December's check has not shown up.
All right. Hey, I'm delighted you popped in. I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome, my friends. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet. I'm so pleased you dropped in. I hope I can persuade you to hang around. Anytime you want to call me, my goodness, I got the hiccups here. The number is 1-800-TALKNET. And I'm looking for all of you nobodies out there. It's a rascally thing. You know I don't think you're nobody, but there are some miscreants, uninformed rogues, in short, I think kind of stupid people, who think you're nobody. Why so? They say you're nobody. They say nobody listens to talk radio. What's wrong with you? Everybody listens to rock and roll. And nobody listens to AM, active mind radio. Not true. But we'd like to demonstrate that kind of concretely, and you can help. Just drop me a postcard. Bruce Williams, Bruce, South Dakota. That's all. Bruce Williams, Bruce, South Dakota. 57220. Say I'm a nobody. I don't want to know your home address. It'd be nice to know what part of the country you're in. You can tell me as little or as much about you as you wish, except I don't want to identify it. I want to try to, anyway, anybody put you on a mailing list, nothing of that kind. But just, we want you nobodies to show we are collectively somebody. Let's go to begin in Mount Vernon, Washington. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, sweetheart.
Okay. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Shh, don't tell. They'll banish us, you know. How dreary to be somebody. So public like a frog. Tell your name the livelong day to some admiring dog.
Okay, nobody. Put that on a postcard and send it to me.
I did.
You are a sweetheart.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, though, the words, I don't know who wrote it. The words might not be all what they're supposed to be, because I learned that little poem in 1945.
Did you really?
So.
You've been carrying that around for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, it's funny the things that we take away from school.
Indeed it is. You know, that's a very profound statement. Because it is really, because you go through formal education of anywhere from 12 to 18, 20 years, and a significant portion is lost. And things that didn't appear very important at the time become very important, and things that looked so terribly important became rather trivial.
Well, I think I had a teacher that wanted to take these little smart aleck teenagers down a little peg.
I hear you. Well, teenagers have always been smart alecky since the time of Pericles.
Oh, you bet.
I wish you well, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your call.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bowling Green, Ohio, your turn. Hello, nobody.
Hi.
Hello there.
I'm nobody, and it was Emily Dickinson that wrote that poem.
We have to tell you, this is some kind of an audience we got out there. How did you know that?
Well, I used to be an English major in a former life.
Here you go.
Do we need
You guys constantly impress me. Do we need what?
Do we need a zip code on Bruce, South Dakota?
If you wish, it's 57220.
Okay, you got it.
I really appreciate that.
Okay. I'm having a problem with a bank. Does that surprise you?
Not in the slightest.
I made 36 car payments, and on the last car payment, there wasn't an amount.
There never is. You know why?
Because they like to play with that.
Well, it's because if there are accumulated late charges and that sort of thing, they add them all in. Plus, if it's a day-to-day interest thing, you got to know what day you're going to pay it.
Right. So I sent in the last one at the regular payment because I knew that I had made all my payments on time and I hadn't accumulated any of those charges. And I got back the little slip, the one that you tear out of the coupon book.
Yeah, a little
with a little
handwritten
note on it that said, "Oh no, you owe us another $128."
And you said?
And I said, and I
after your blood pressure went down and you drifted in from Mars.
I said, I called them up and I said, no, I don't. And they said, yeah, you do. You have 5 $15 late charges, none of which I'd ever heard about. And in fact, we had just bought a house and I had a credit report that showed that I hadn't had any late payments on this particular account. And furthermore, because of the account balancing that you just said, the interest rates on a daily basis, that's what the rest of it was. So I asked to speak to someone who could handle this, that I had a complaint about this. And you know who they sent me to? Collections.
Naturally.
Yeah, so after I talked to the one guy who wanted to treat me like a deadbeat for a while.
Well, you are. You sound like a deadbeat.
Sure.
You're really a miscreant and also somebody we'd never invite to a party.
Right. So I finally asked for the vice president of collections, and I talked to him for a while. In fact, I talked to him for about an hour. Fortunately, it was his nickel long distance.
Good.
And at the end of it, I finally proposed that we compromise. I said, this is going nowhere. I think I owe you $0. You think I owe you $128. Let's end this conversation. Why don't I pay you $64? You send me the title of my car back and we'll call it quits. And he said, okay. He would send me a bill for $64. He even said, you know, I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Next time you're in town, why don't you stop in for a drink?
Well, it was sort of as if I had been a worthy opponent, and he sort of enjoyed that, which will tell you something about the minds that we're dealing with here. I never got a bill. That was a month and a half, 2 months ago. What I did just get...
Was your title?
No. What I did just get was a statement that was a late notice for the 37th payment for the same amount that I've been making for the 37th.
You're kidding.
No.
Did you call the guy? Did you call the guy back?
No, I haven't. I thought I'll call you.
Nah,
do I want to write his president a letter with a copy
I
of
would
the Federal
call him
Reserve?
back. No, well, you can do. I call him back and say, look, I thought we had a deal. I thought I was dealing with a gentleman. What's the matter here? And if he doesn't, then you go to the next level.
Well, my question is, do I write his president a letter with a copy to the Federal Reserve, or do I take him to small claims court in my county, which would be real inconvenient for him because it's an hour drive from his bank?
Well, the first thing that I would do is call a guy.
Okay.
And say, look, this is the arrangement we made. What happened? Now, unless I have something Monday morning, use Express Mail, Federal Express, or whatever.
We have a fax machine in the house.
There you go. Something to confirm this. You too, huh? Yeah, me too. I never thought I would sink that low.
It saves me trips.
I've got one in my house, too. I never thought I would. You have a dedicated line?
No, we use it has a smart line, so it knows when to switch from voice to...
How does that work?
It's
a smart line. Mine's a stupid line. I got to pay for it.
You need to get a smart line. It's worth it because then you can use it for both, and you don't have to have a dedicated line.
What is a smart line?
It tells the phone whether a fax machine is sending you a message or whether somebody's calling you voice.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then it switches over automatically to one or the other.
What happens if you're on the phone talking?
I guess you'll get a busy signal on the fax machine.
Oh, I don't want that. Okay. Smart lines. I did see. I always swore no beepers and no fax machines. But
no, you have to get with it.
But I got the fax machine in the house, but I'm still fighting the computer.
Okay, so we get this.
Give this rascal a call, and if he doesn't, then you start up the line again.
Okay.
Particularly, is this a national bank?
It's the third national bank, and it
what was this?
What happened to the first and second?
Oh, wise guy. Have a great one. I wish you well.
Okay, and then what's the next step, though?
The next step is to go to the Federal Reserve, make complaint, saying that their account has been mishandled, that you had had these communications and so forth, and you really feel that this is one of the, and you can zing it to the Fed a little bit. You see, this is one of the reasons that all of us are so nervous about banks these days. They'll love that.
Yeah.
And copy them.
And how do I find them locally?
What, the Federal Reserve? Just find the nearest Federal Reserve office that manages your area. Okay. Make a telephone call to any national bank, they'll tell you.
Okay. Great.
Thanks I do wish you well, dear.
Okay.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. Oh, don't they love it when you call their regulators. Of course they do. This is Talknet. Greensboro, North Dakota. God, this is my day. North Dakota, North Carolina.
Bruce.
Oh, what the heck? It's only, 100 miles. You're on the move, right?
Right.
What's
I'm a nobody.
I'm delighted.
I'm one of the AM listeners, and my wife thinks I'm crazy because I'd rather listen to AM radio all day long than listen to music.
We have to have a talk with that wife of yours. How old is your wife?
35.
Well, she's old enough to be mature, by golly.
Yeah, well, she thinks I'm crazy because I like to listen to talk shows all day long.
Well, what you say to her, if I'm so crazy, how did I pick you?
Yeah, well.
Anyway.
Yeah, I listen to them and I learn. So.
There you go.
Question. I have dealt with a heating and air conditioning company that I think has messed me over. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
I had some small problems right after they first put it in.
What did they put in?
And they put in a central air and gas unit.
Okay.
Okay. And since they have put it in, I have not been able to regulate it. I have a house that's about 1,400 square feet.
What is it you haven't been able to regulate? The air?
Mainly the air. The heat is not quite as bad.
But you're trying to balance the air, is that it?
What happens is at one end of the house it'll be
30 below zero.
Degree, yeah.
I got the same thing.
And the other end of the house is 71.
I got the same thing. Serious. I just had the air, central air changed and a new gas furnace put in.
Well.
And in my bedroom it's about 70, and my living room you could hang meat.
Yeah. Well, this gas furnace and central air unit the estimate on it was $3,200.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have had an estimate from another heating company come out. And when they first went up into the attic and looked at this unit and all, and went outside and looked at the air conditioning unit, looked at the ductwork, he came back down and he said, this is a blank job. And he named the company that did it for me. Okay, out of all of them in Greensboro, he named the company.
Well, he could have done that. He may be the guy that handles certain furnaces or whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, well, there's probably 10 in this area that handle that brand of furnace.
Is that right? Okay.
So, but anyway, he told me it's going to cost $950 to fix it this way, or $1,200, with the round flexible duct.
Let me take a little time out to get caught up here.
Yeah.
And I think what you're telling me here is he used an existing hot air system to do your air, and that sometimes is not so easy to do. Stick around. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Share with a friend at 1-800-TALKNET.
I'm chatting with a gentleman in Greensboro, North Carolina. If I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think what you did was you had an existing hot air system, probably an oil burner of some kind.
This is a new system. Okay.
New house?
Well, not new house, but I had electric baseboard heat.
Well, but then they put all the new ducts in?
Yeah, they did.
For $3,200?
Huh?
For $3,200? Boy, that's cheap.
Okay. But what happened is, this other guy came in and said, okay, to correct it, it's going to take, with a new flexible duct, we'll have to put in bigger ductwork and the feeder system so you can adjust it back and forth to one end of the house to the other, the airflow. And he said it's going to cost $950 one way, and if you want to do it the more expensive way with old galvanized or whatever it is, aluminum duct, he said it's going to cost you $1,200.
Well, let me ask you this: did you get any other estimates beside this guy?
Yeah, I got 3.
And what were the other numbers?
They were within $300 or $400 of what he gave me.
That's all right.
So it wasn't
so
that much
cheap.
So my problem is I haven't paid the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. He's suing me now
for
the $3,200.
And your position is? My
thought on the thing is I should not owe him $3,200 less $900. I'm taking the lower of the two estimates, $950 to correct the ductwork that he put in.
No, I'm not sure that you're going to get sustained on that one, because his argument is going to be, well, he's upgrading. He's putting in additional stuff to get additional balancing qualities and so on and so forth.
Well, all he's doing is going from a 6-inch ductwork to a 10-inch, which the guy should have put in the first place.
But how much more would it have cost to do that?
Probably in the neighborhood of $300.
Well, in that case, then we're talking about a
$650.
A difference of $6,500, because you are upgrading that.
Right. Okay. Well.
And I would imagine if it does go to court, the judge will probably split it someplace, and you're almost going to be obliged to have the guy that's doing the work for you, show up in court and testify that this was undersized and so forth.
Okay. Or should I try to approach the first guy and say,
You can do that, of course.
Going to court and say, look, it would cost you only $300 to done it right the first time. You deduct $650 and we'll settle it now, without ever having to go to court.
Deduct $650.
This
Oh, I
is
see.
$650 from the $3,200.
Yeah, because it's costing you to do the job, to retrofit the job. It's costing additional $600 because the guy's got to go in and tear apart and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
so it's going to cost me an additional $300.
I understand. I take that position, and I think if you go to court, you know what's going to happen? I'll bet you.
What?
That most small claims courts.
Well, this is not a small.
Well,
this is a district.
Okay, that's right because of the numbers.
Civil case.
Right. But oftentimes the judge will recommend some kind of a pre-trial arbitration.
Okay.
And I'll bet you he recommends that you split it.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate
But
it.
you have nothing to look. You're going to have to answer, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'd go back and propose that kind of a compromise. But even if he wants to split it with you, it'd be cheaper for both of you than going to court.
Right.
Good luck, my friend.
Well, I'll keep listening.
Hey,
And
maybe one of these days we'll get lucky and convert your wife. What do you think?
okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay, good. What's her name?
Greg.
Well, you tell Greg to listen. Oh, you're Greg. What's your wife's name?
Carol.
Well, you tell Carol that I give her my best, and I'm kind of hopeful that maybe if she'll give us, something in the order of a couple of days, we just might show. I don't mean to the exclusion of music, because I listen to music, so you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing that just might make her a more interesting person.
Well, between you and Neil, we listen to Talknet a lot.
Oh, I'm delighted.
But she likes to listen, but she's just not a AM freak like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I love to listen and, like I said, learn.
Greg, I wish you well, and I thank you much.
Thanks a lot.
Take good care. Yeah, I think that AM and conversation radio offers a great deal. Not what I'm doing, but I mean in general. Well, if you think so too, tell me you're a nobody. Just drop me a card. Bruce Williams, Bruce, South Dakota. Say, I'm a nobody. The zipper, 57220. This is Bruce. This is Talknet. Des Moines, Iowa, you are at the head of the line. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Thanks to guys like you.
Yeah. Well,
Are you a nobody? You a nobody?
What?
Are you one of my nobodies?
Well, I'd like to think I'm somebody, but I'm probably not.
No. That's not a put down. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well,
Seriously, if you don't know, say, I don't know what you're talking about, Bruce.
well, I know it has something to do with what stations you listen to.
Well, no. Has nothing. People are saying that nobody likes conversation radio. That makes you a nobody.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
I'm
saying,
a nobody.
there you a nobody. Exactly.
I
And all
listen
we're-
every night.
Super. What we're saying is, by golly, we're going to prove to you that our nobodies are somebody.
I guess I'm a number one nobody.
Well, then send me a postcard and tell me that. That's all I'm asking. And I'm going to dump these postcards in some advertising agency's lap.
And then we'll get more stuff, huh?
And what kind of stuff?
Junk mail.
No. You won't get any junk mail. I don't want your address.
Oh.
All I want to know now, maybe I'm not communicating, and that's my deficiency. What you see, what we're
I
running.
was only half listening when you started talking about that.
Well, what I run up against frequently is people say nobody listens to talk radio, nobody listens to AM. Well, that makes you a nobody because clearly you listen because you called me,
Right.
and we want to show them there's a lot of nobodies out there. And I'm paying for all this. Nobody's paying. Nobody else. Nobody. No one is paying for this but me.
Well, what do we put on the card if we don't put our...
I'm Mary Jane and I'm a nobody from Des Moines. That's all.
I see.
If you want to tell me your age, I don't care. Okay. I just want the fact that you are nobody. Well, if you're nobody, by golly, there's a lot of you nobodies out there. That's all.
Okay.
We don't want to put you will not be on a mail. I don't want your address. I made that very clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're just going to send that postcard. Raise your right hand. I promise I'll send the postcard.
Okay.
Okay. What's on your mind?
Okay. We loaned our son $10,000 to help him buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to pay us back $500 a month. And the rate of interest will be 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't understand how the interest is the $500 a month.
Here's what you do. How much? You said it was $10,000.
Yes.
The next question is for how many months?
Just till it's
So
paid
it works.
off.
All right. I don't have
$500 a month till it's paid off.
Here, I don't have a book. What is your first name?
Muriel.
Muriel. I don't have a book here in front of me, but you can buy one at any stationery store, or you can go down to the next time you're in the bank. Any officer's going to have one in this little box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what he will do is take 8%. He'll just on the book, all right? and he slides down the column till he comes to 500. And that will tell you how many months, how many years it will take at $500 at 8% to retire the loan.
Okay, does that mean then that part of each $500 is interest?
That's correct. The biggest part will be interest at the beginning.
Oh, okay, because my son is a business major, and he said something.
I'm doing real well, thanks.
Good. I feel like after the last caller, I really don't have much of a problem, but I'll tell you about it anyway. About 2 years ago, in July of 1988, my husband and I were looking for a cocktail table for our living room. And we found one at a pretty reputable furniture store in the area. The cocktail table was a chrome table, and it was a chrome and glass table, only at the store they had shown it in brass and glass.
Big difference.
Yes. So we asked them if we could order the same table but having chrome, and they said yes. And we asked them how long it would take, and they said about 3 months. So we gave a $200 deposit on the table. And the table came to $768. We gave a $200 deposit on the table, and then we waited out our 3 months. Well, the end of 3 months came, and we called, and they said it's going to be a little bit longer. So finally, I think about another month or so, they called us and said the table's ready for delivery. So we set up a delivery date, and they brought in the table, and guess what?
It was
a
in brass
and glass table. And besides being brass and glass, there was some defect in the glass. It kind of looked like there were fingerprints, and we would spray it, and the fingerprints wouldn't come off.
Well, did you accept delivery?
The reason we called, the delivery man was right here, and we said, well, we want to call the store before you leave. Because I had been waiting for this table for so long, and if I had to wait 3 more months for another table, I don't know if I wanted to do that. And I was having a party that weekend. So I called the salesperson, and I told them that I needed a table, and I don't want to wait 3 more months. They said, you can keep this table on loan, and we will order the table that you wanted. So I said, and we didn't have to pay the money. We would just keep our deposit, and they would order us the other table. I thought that was pretty nice.
Seems so.
So we accepted the table, and, even though there was a defect in it, we kind of got accustomed to the defect. It was only $200 up to this point, and they never called us back. And after about 4 more months, we called them, and we wanted to know where our table was. And they kept saying, it's still on order, it's still on order. And we called them back one more time, and they said it still didn't come in, and we just forgot about it. We just decided we were going to keep the brass table because it was only $200, and we figured we'll live with brass for $200.
Frankly, I like brass better than chrome anytime, but that's all right.
But, for the price, it was a pretty cheap table, even if there was a defect in it.
Got you covered.
So, the time goes by, and here we are. We're bragging to everybody about our cheap table. And,
keep your mouth shut. Go ahead.
A month ago, we get a bill for this table.
For
the balance of the table.
Yeah.
And no one ever called us to tell us that it wasn't coming or it was coming, or they couldn't get it or they couldn't, but they sent us a bill for the $568 for the table.
What did you do?
So I didn't do anything. I just ignored the bill.
Well, that's not smart.
Well, another bill came today.
Okay.
And we don't want to ignore it anymore.
Well, you shouldn't have ignored it in the first place.
Well, we did.
I know you did, but you shouldn't have.
Well, another bill came today.
Okay.
And what we want to know is, we've got a defect on the table.
I just call them and say, look, come on, pick up your table with a $200 certified check.
Okay. In other words,
I'm still waiting for my
balance back.
Pardon me?
Just give me my deposit.
Give me my money, you can take your table, or bring over the chrome table and I'll take it.
What if they tell us they'll get us the chrome table, we have to wait 3 more months?
When you go back, nothing's changed. You're still sitting there using this table.
Okay. But we don't have to pay them that $568.
I wouldn't. I'd have said, look, I'm still waiting, kids. We haven't moved.
Okay.
You say, you promised me a chrome table. You said you could use this one. I'm using it. Now, if you want to sell me this table, I might go an extra $100. But this one, after all, is a used table.
So if they say they'll compromise,
that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I say, listen, I can't pay $700 for a used table.
Well, that's what we were thinking. We didn't want to spend that money for a used table.
Well, I tell them that. I said, look, I got a used table here. My deal with you is very simple. You're supposed to deliver a chrome table, take this one back, and I pay you. And I was ready to do that for 2 years. I'm still ready to do it for one more month, 30 days. After that, I don't want a chrome table. Now, I'm not going to pay you $700 for a used table with a defect. Now, if you guys want to sell it to me for another $100, just to make the matter, to close the matter, I might consider that, but that's all I'm going to consider.
So you think that it would be fair if we pay them an additional $100 and keep the table we have?
I think so.
Okay.
But I would first, but you don't screw it up now. What you're going to say is, I wanted the chrome table, I'll take a chrome table. You got 30 days to deliver me a chrome table. Or not even 30 days. The heck with the 30 days. You got till next week. You had 2 years, that's enough time. By next Friday, I want to see a new table here. Or...
Well, they're not going to be able to do that.
Well, you don't want them to do that, do you? Do you?
No.
That's...
I'd like this table for, like you say, $100.
But then you first give them the option and say, look, I gave you 2 years, that's enough. Now, if we can negotiate another, you offer them $50. Another $50 to close this matter out, and you go for $100.
Okay.
I wish you well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Got to be kidding me. Why would you spend $7 for a used table? Doesn't make any sense. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you I really enjoyed your show.
Thank you.
And I worked a year and a half on second shift down here and got off work at midnight and had a 45-mile drive home. And your show really helped keep me awake.
I'm glad we keep you awake. What's doing, kid?
Oh, well, I have a problem here. I don't know if it's too far after the fact to correct or not. Back in September, I ordered a vehicle, and they told me it would be 8 to 10 weeks for delivery.
I take it this is a car, truck?
Truck.
Okay.
Correct. Car truck type thing.
Okay.
Then on November 7th, I received a phone call from the salesperson that the vehicle had arrived. And 2 hours later, I get another phone call saying that they had made a mistake when they quoted me a price, and it would cost an additional $1,800 for the vehicle.
Just a small minor mistake.
Yes.
How much was the price they quoted you?
$17,144.
Oh, that's a $17,002. I'm just trying to get see how the magnitude of the mistake. It looks like about 1/8. Wow. Okay.
Their logic was there's 3 models to this vehicle: a base model, a middle of the line, and a top of the line.
Yeah.
They priced out for me a middle model. They spec'd out a middle model, but gave me the price on a base model.
Yeah.
I had this, we went to the dealer, we had our paperwork in hand, we discussed it back and forth with all kinds of salespeople and finally the owner. Their response to me was they would let me have the vehicle at dealer invoice, which was the reason for the $1,800 difference. We had already sold our vehicle 2 days previous because we were told the vehicle would be in any day. This wasn't a trade-in deal. That's how come they told me I was able to get such a good price. They're telling me that the sales manager who quoted me this price is no longer with the company.
Wouldn't matter. They don't have to sell it to you if that's what you're asking.
That was my attitude.
They don't have to sell you the car.
Well, that's my response. The only thing they offered was to give me my deposit back.
That's all they got to do.
Is that as far as his responsibility?
Yes, sir. Just as you have no responsibility to buy that car.
Right.
Until the day you sign for it, not when you just put the deposit down. Now, I don't understand the rationale behind that, clearly. I would have thought logic would say when you make a deal, you make a deal.
Right, that's what I want.
Wait a while, but that's what logic would tell you. But it cuts both ways. I would have thought if you walked in and gave them $500 down and decided you don't want to buy the car, they'd keep the $500. They can't.
Okay.
And conversely, they don't have to sell you the car.
That's their only liability, is that deposit money?
Deposit money.
So, in effect, really, this contract that we draw up,
meaningless.
Give a deposit is useless.
That's right. And I said something to the contrary and was corrected by half a dozen automobile dealers. They were the ones when it was working against them, in other words, people said they want their money back.
Right.
And the dealers say, yeah, you got to give it to them. Well, you're back to square one, kid.
So legally, there was no grounds.
As far as I know, no.
There's no grounds for this transaction. There's no purpose in me pursuing this.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. That was my main question. I wanted to know if I should get involved. Because I wrote a letter to the CEO of the company.
I understand. I must turn you loose, but that's my understanding. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. WIBC. Nashua, New Hampshire. Thanks for your patience. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Bruce. I rarely miss your show. My grandson put 2 airline tickets on his credit card so I could go down with my great-granddaughter for the Christmas holiday.
Okay. Where are you going?
I am going to Sarasota.
Okay.
From Boston.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, at last I didn't get them.
Well, wait a minute. He put 2 tickets on. Where is he?
He's in Sarasota.
All right. Now, how was
always say put him on his credit card.
Wait a minute. Hold it. How was he getting those tickets to you?
Well, that's just it. He called the airline, and they said they would mail them to me. So I didn't get them.
How long ago was that?
Well, I called the airline last Friday,
Yeah.
and she said, yes, it was confirmed and everything else. She said they are being mailed to you, but your boarding passes will be in Boston. When you get to Boston, go.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So I didn't get them over the weekend, so I called Monday, and she's same lady, very nice, and she said, well, they were mailed out the 5th of December. And I said, gosh, I haven't received them yet. She said, why don't you wait a day or 2 and call me back? So I called her back Thursday afternoon, and she said, you haven't received them yet? And I said, no. She said, why don't you wait another day or 2? Now, tomorrow is Saturday, and I am leaving early Tuesday morning.
All right, if they haven't received them on Monday, you give it till Monday's mail,
Mm-hmm.
and you call this woman back, and they can have those. They're not going to like this very much, but they can have the tickets reissued at the airport.
Oh, is that what they can do?
No, they can do that. Now, do you have a credit card?
No, I don't.
Oh boy, how about your granddaughter? Whoever's going with you?
Oh, she's only 4.
Has somebody up there got a credit card?
No.
You have nobody around there. How about this kid's parents? Do they have a credit card?
Well, his mother's in Florida.
I'm talking about this little child that you're taking with you.
Oh, no, they don't.
How come none of you guys have credit cards?
I don't know. I've heard you say that. Well, the interest, and I'm retired, and I don't.
There's no interest if you pay it on time.
Pay it on time? Well, I didn't know that, but I knew that my grandson had.
I understand that, but we can't deal with him right now. Because I tell you, go in and just buy one-way tickets if you have to, and then put them in contest later because they didn't get to you.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is that you call that woman back on Monday morning and tell her they didn't get there. What airline are we talking about?
I can mention it?
Yes, ma'am. What airline?
U.S. Air.
Okay, fine. You called U.S. Air back, and you explain the circumstance, and you tell them that you want the tickets issued, that they mailed them. They didn't. Did they certify or register these tickets?
She just said they were mailed out early December 5th.
Well, the fact is that they have no way to prove they mailed them at this point. And there's no reason for you to go through the lost ticket routine since you never received them.
I called my daughter late last night, and she said, oh, yeah, because I called them. Make sure now you sent them to...
All right, but hear what I said. You tell them that you want the tickets reissued at the airport. And if she can't handle that, get to a supervisor. If the supervisor can't get to them, what you can have your son do, or your grandson, whoever he was, that if there's an extra $25 charge, don't worry about that, you get that back too. He can call the airline and have a new set of tickets charged to his charge card. And don't worry about the big charges. It's not an issue.
No.
Because he'll get a credit for that. And they have a will call system which they charge $25 for. If it's necessary to go that route, have him do that. Do you understand all that?
Yes.
Okay.
I did. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Have a pleasant trip. Merry Christmas to you, sweetheart. I can't imagine why they would send them regular mail without certifying them, because that's like cash. You're sending cash in the mail. And frankly, I think that I don't understand people to begin with. First of all, why do it that way? There'd be a ton of other ways to do it. It'd be a whole lot easier for your whatever it was, your grandson, to go to a travel agency, buy the tickets, and then send them either express mail, Federal Express. You know you're going to get it the next day. It seems to me a more reasonable way to do things. Maybe not. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Cincinnati, hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
Listen to you all over the country as I travel around.
Well, thank you, sir.
Got a problem trying to collect some money from my boss.
Why?
Well, My boss worked for a small company, and I'm 5% owner.
You're a 5-point owner?
Yes.
Well, you're trying to collect partially from you.
Partially from me, but actually, I guess I'm collecting from him as an individual. There's 3 of us involved.
All right.
The boss.
Is this a corporation or a partnership?
Yes, a corporation.
Oh, okay.
And the boss packed his family up 2.5 years ago, moved to California, and tried to expand the business out that way. Since the rest of us travel all over, we can basically, with a fax machine, airplane, and telephone, we can operate out of any place. But we do need to come to the corporate headquarters here in Cincinnati, a few days a month anyway, or a week a month. So rather than stay in motels, he said, hey, why don't you guys just stay in my house while you're in town, and we'll let the company use that. So there's basically 3 of us that use his house.
He's out on the West Coast.
He's on the West Coast.
So this house is sitting idle in Cincinnati.
Right.
So that's why he's using this for the company mansion. He's probably writing the house off this way.
The company, I'm sure, is paying the freight.
Oh, clearly.
And the company's saving money because we're not in motels, and we can cook here and so on and so forth.
It's probably a little more comfortable, too.
Much more comfortable. This is a great arrangement. Anyhow, over the 3 years, or 2.5 years, we have put a lot of money into this house, about $4,000 or so. Had to fix the air conditioner, replace the air conditioner and furnace. We remodeled his basement for him, again, to use it as office area, and we just made it a little nicer. We had to, the washer went, it was a 17-year-old washer, and of course that wore out, so rather than Mickey Mouse around and repair it, we replaced it. In that length of time, he sends us a couple $100 every once in a while, probably about $1,000 so far, so we're still short about $3,000. Again, we're not complaining about the arrangement.
What do you mean you're short? I understand.
Well, we've paid out of our pockets probably $4,000, and he has sent back about $1,000. So we have paid out of our pockets $3,000 to live here.
Yeah. And maybe I'm missing something here. Unless this is really a screwball arrangement.
It is a screwball arrangement.
There ought to be some kind of a lease between the corporation and this property, and the responsibilities of who does what and why.
I don't think that I know there is not one.
Boy, that's pretty loose.
Well, we didn't know how this would work 2.5 years ago, and as it became very comfortable, and we just let it go. And we're all kind of...
Well, is somebody paying rent?
Companies, no, we do not pay any rent.
Well, then, and you're complaining because you're putting some money into the house?
Well, not necessarily, but...
Well, it sounds to me like you are.
Well, we are. We'd like to recover some of our money because he's implied that, yeah, anything that goes wrong, let me know, I'll take care of it. Go ahead, fix it, and eventually we'll settle up.
Well, you got 5%. How much does the other guy got?
Well, the 2 owners each own 46, and I have 5, and there's 2 other fellows that own 1.5%. And there are several other people who work for the company. One of the other fellows here owns 1.5%, and the other fellow is just an employee. Anyhow, he's moving his family back when school's out in the spring.
Back to they use the family manse again, huh?
Right. And now we're suddenly sitting here thinking, gee whiz, we're like to recover some of our money. We're not complaining about the arrangement at all, but we're just thinking, well, we've kind of mentioned it to him a few times about, hey, well, it was a $600 washer we put in the house. We're not heavy-duty users. I'm here maybe a week a month, and
wait a minute. A week a month, that's 4 months a year. 3 months a year.
Roughly.
That's not heavy duty?
Well,
come on.
I don't know. We're not. There's no kids. We're just.
What difference does it make? If you're there 3 months a year, right? How much would your motel be? Your hotel, whatever.
Well, anywhere from probably $60, $70 a night.
All right. And you're there 5 or 7 days in this. When you stay in town, you stay 5 or 7 days?
Well, sometimes 3 days, sometimes not here. I've been here since for the last month, finishing up the year end.
All right, then let's assume that you have 90 days a year. 900 times 90 times 10 is 900. Times 10 is 9,000. 40. You alone somewhere you got to be around $8,000 or $9,000 the beneficiary here.
Well, again, the company would picks up my motel room. And So I really don't have expenses on the road, neither do the other fellas.
Yeah,
They're all reimbursed expenses.
But they're in direct proportion to the company's profitability. Your 5% is worth more or worth less.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So you are some beneficiary. The guy who has the 46%, the other 46%er, he's got the big benefit.
They're making out like we're all making out like bandits in this arrangement.
It just doesn't. It just seems to me that you guys are nitpicking. Tell you the truth, you're living a whole lot better than you live in some motel room.
Certainly.
Well, that has some value to you.
Well, I guess.
And wait a while, hold the phone. I have to believe. In fact, I know doggone well, unless you're a waiter or something, that you can't charge off your cleaning and washing stuff.
No, can't.
Well, how much have you saved by being able to wash your own clothes for those 90 days?
Quite a bit.
Indeed. I think you guys, I really think that, okay, if he wants to throw you something, fine, but I think you guys are being unreasonable.
Okay. I value your opinion. We've just been kind of looking at this thing and said, gee.
We're talking about big money, but $3 grand split among 3 or 4 guys, I think you get off easy.
We just did 4 hours of plumbing.
All right.
This afternoon, and we sat there and listening to you early part of your show. I said, Bruce will know.
Well, I don't know if I know, but that's my opinion.
All right.
Hey, have a nice holiday, my friend.
Thank you. You do the same.
I shall indeed. We're going to Boston, Mass. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. A great show. I love it.
Well, thank you.
I got a small business, and I bought a new sign for it, a 12-foot long sign.
Yep.
And I paid for half of it. It cost me $1,500.
All right.
Now, the sign is up, and it looks good, but my contention is I can't see the sign because when the sun shines on it, it reflects the light. And when at night there's a 50-foot high pole that shines down on the building and it reflects the light, and you can't see the sign. He says to me, well, you wanted the sign, I gave you what you wanted, you pay me the rest of the money. And I'm saying, why should I pay you for a sign that I can't see when the sun shines on it? And
Who selected the site?
Huh?
Who selected the site?
Well, it was a replacement of the same, where the old sign was. They took the old sign down.
And what was the old? Is there a material difference in the change of the composition of the sign?
Yeah, the difference. Both signs are wood, but the difference is the old.
Yeah, I bet you would. And I talked to 2 supervisors and I got nothing. Same thing, nothing at all.
The next thing you do is you write a letter to the Public Utilities Commission in Kansas.
Well, now I called the Corporation Commission, and they said this is the unregulated side, and there's nothing that they can do either.
But the equipment thing is unregulated?
Uh-huh. They said there's one part that's regulated, and this happens to be the unregulated side. So where do I...
Sue them. But how do you prove that you turned it in?
Yeah, that's...
And there's another question there, too. Now, I understand that and I'm not going to tell you I wouldn't do the same thing. Let's start with that, all right?
Uh-huh.
But how do you say to somebody, for 7 years I never questioned the bill to find out what I was paying for?
Well, I'll tell you...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Another quirk to this is the fact that my husband is a minister, and when we first came to town 15 years ago, we just had an extension of the church phone. But several years ago, the church got their own phone, and this phone is in our name, but they never got that change. So the bill has been going to the church, and the church has been paying it.
So you didn't pay it?
So we didn't pay it.
Well, then how can you make a claim if you didn't pay it?
Well, I wouldn't. We'd make it on the church.
Well, let the church make the claim then.
Uh-huh.
Furthermore, if the church makes the claim, as opposed to you making it, the AT&T might see it a little differently.
Uh-huh.
How do you say the church is lying to you?
Right. So do you have any idea who I would, as far as I've gone, I talked to a supervisor.
I would.
2 supervisors.
All right, okay.
Nothing. They
I would do, I think AT&T, if memory serves me, is where? Basking Ridge, New Jersey, maybe? Something like that? I think, well, they're in New Jersey. I think it's in Basking Ridge or someplace. That'll probably do.
Uh-huh.
And find out who the chairman of the board of AT&T is.
Okay.
And you have your husband, the minister, or the church deacon write.
Okay.
And say, essentially, that what you told me, that the church has been paying for a service for 7 years, which it hasn't received.
Okay.
And I would adopt the positive premise. I know that you certainly don't want to take funds away from our church that you're not entitled to receive.
Okay.
See if that doesn't get somebody's attention.
Okay, I really appreciate your help, Bruce. I kind of on a dead-end street. They had told me, the lady said that by paying the bill, I admitted that I owed it.
What a lot of... Did she really have the nerve to say that?
That's what she said, and I said, well, I'm assuming that my word's probably as good as yours, you know.
By paying the bill, you admitted you owed it.
That's what she said.
That is probably a candidate for one of the more stupid cracks. Really?
She said there's some kind of a law that says that if you pay it, I don't know, that's admissible as that you were guilty and owed the bill.
When somebody says something like that, ask them if their pencils come with erasers. Because by that same logic, if you make a line, you wanted the line.
Uh-huh.
Why would you have whiteout? Stupid. Drop the line to the chairman of AT&T.
Okay.
With the premise that I adopted.
Okay.
And I've got a request to you. I want to hear what the answer is.
Okay.
Take good care.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
You're welcome. Pay the bill. You admitted the fact that you owed it. Gotta be. Who among us hasn't overpaid a bill from time? I certainly have. Double paid a telephone bill, double paid a cable bill. And at least as far as I know, because I know the company's come back with a credit for me. Made a mistake. Where do they find these people? I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We go to the big D. It's Dallas, Texas at 570. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How you doing?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
Good, good. Listen, I got a little problem here. Small business owner. We're a cleaning company. We do a lot of work for insurance companies, fire, smoke, water restoration type stuff.
I know exactly what you do.
Okay. We had an insured, and we did some work for them, and the insurance company, they were happy, and the insurance company cut a draft with their name and my company name on the draft.
Yeah, that's customary to make it out to both parties.
That's correct. Now, they sent it to the insured, and normally the insured signs it, sends it to us, and we just deposit it. Well, it never showed up, so we kept tracking it down, so finally we discovered today that the insured has typed my company name on it, endorsed the back of the check, and deposited it into their credit union.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we
nothing to worry about.
Pardon me?
You have little to worry about.
Well, I don't know. I went to the credit union. The president of the credit union says, they're sorry they can't help me. That customer has closed down the account and their history there.
That's not your problem. It's not their problem. That is Poland.
Okay.
That may be, but that is not your problem. The fact is that they accepted a forged document.
That's correct.
And that's their problem. I don't give a darn if they can find the other guy or not.
Okay.
That is their problem.
Well, that's what I tried to explain to the credit union.
Well, you don't have to explain anything to him.
What do I do?
What you do is you can go over and say we can work this out very easily. Or is it a federal credit union?
That I couldn't tell you.
Well, you can find out easily enough.
Okay.
And you say, look, I am prepared to sign an affidavit of forgery.
We've done that.
And you in turn accepted a forged document. The responsibility is clearly yours. How much money's involved?
About $3,000.
Oh. I mean, I don't want to hear these stories from him. He's dead wrong. Tell you what, make certain I'm right. Got to believe there's somebody out there in the banking business. 212-245-6040. 212-245-6040. Real simple scenario. Somebody receives a check made out to a company. And by the way, was the check made out to the company?
Yes.
You can't deposit that in their account either. He's also wrong in that regard.
Well, that's what I thought.
You cannot deposit a company check, or you can't cash a company check, period, and it's only available for deposit in an account so titled.
That's what I
So they struck out on 2 counts. I don't know what they were thinking about over there.
Well, my problem came about when the president said that there wasn't anything they could do, so I just have nowhere, who do I go to tell them they've got to do something?
Well, as I said, I don't know I apologize. I don't know the office that regulates federal credit unions. But a quick telephone call to a Federal Reserve Bank ought to get that information for you.
Okay, what if it's not a federal? I go to some...
Whatever state, whatever agency licensed them to do business.
Okay.
But clearly, they've done 2 things. One, they've accepted a draft made out to a corporation or a company name, deposited into a non-legal depository. You have a company, right?
Right.
When you opened your account at the bank, you had to either give them a corporate resolution. Are you a corporation?
No.
Then you're a trade style, right?
Right.
If you have a company name, though, tell me you do.
Yeah, right.
It's not just John Jones. It's a John Jones company or Rinky Dinky, we clean them up sort of thing, right?
Right, I've got a DBA doing business.
Okay, fine. when you opened your account then at the bank, your checking account, or wherever you put your money,
Right.
you had to give them a trade style certificate, did you not?
That's correct.
Of course, because that's the law all over the country. You have to have a trade style or a corporate resolution to open up a depository.
Right.
Now, you can cash a check now to a person, but not to a company. They screwed up in 2 counts.
That's what I was thinking.
There's not a question about it. I want you to hold on for a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Now, come on, guys. Who do we make the complaint to with the Federal Credit Union to get this dummy off center? The number is 212-245-6040. Need a little help here. 212-245-6040. What regulatory authority? Now, I know you go to an attorney, the attorney can rattle their cage, but clearly they're responsible. On the one hand, that they accepted a forged document. On the second hand, and the fact that their customers no longer, the picture is not an issue. And secondly, they allowed a DBA check to be deposited into a non-authorized depository. Mobile, Alabama. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
Hi, Bruce. I work for a credit union and I work for a bank.
Okay.
And, I've been listening to the gentleman on the line, and I can tell you that the bank is up a creek.
Am I not correct in that regard?
Right on the money. It's the responsibility of the accepting teller to verify all of the endorsements on the check. And secondly, if it's made out to a company at all, you are right. They are restricted. It can only go into the company account.
Okay, now who do we have to get to move them off center?
You go to the bank manager or you go to the credit union manager now.
He went to them already, and the guy says, too bad, Charlie, that our customer's gone, so you're on the hook, which is clearly stupid.
All right. In the state in which the credit union is chartered, whether it's federal or state, they need to go to the credit union league of that state. Usually in the main financial center of the state, whether...
the credit union league?
Yes.
Okay.
The credit union league. Now, there's a National Credit Union Administration, NCUA, but normally they can go to the State Credit Union League, and they've got a bevy of people that will handle this problem PDQ.
Very well. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you very, very
Welcome.
much. All right, Dallas, are you there?
Here.
Okay, you go to the Credit Union League in your area.
Okay, great.
But they're off base 15 different ways.
Well, I figured they were, but when they wasn't talking about giving me more money, I was getting concerned.
Then you get down and talk to them. If there's any more of a problem, you give me a shout, but I'm confident there should not be.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruce.
Take good care.
Have a good night.
I shall indeed. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Boston, Massachusetts. Hello there.
Yes, Bruce. I'm calling in on that question on that check that was forged.
Yes, sir.
There are two points on that. Number one, the deposit of the check with the company endorsement being put on there. There's nothing wrong with that as long as it wasn't forged. You can a company can endorse the check over to a second party, and it could be then deposited by that second party.
Everything that you're saying flies in the face of everything I've ever been taught.
Okay, well, I spent 20 years in banking.
And you can accept a corporate check in a non-corporate depository?
Yes, you can.
Then why in the world would you have to? I'm serious. I'm asking you. Why would you have to have a corporate resolution to open the account? You wouldn't need an account.
Well, a corporate resolution is telling the bank who's authorized to sign checks for the bank.
And it also authorizes you to act as the corporation's agent in making and collecting deposits.
That is correct, but this is going to a third party.
I don't believe you can do that. I think you're wrong.
Well,
okay, we'll still be friends. We can disagree. I think you're wrong.
All right. The second part of it is on where you go. You go back to the insurance company that issued the draft, and you let them know that the draft was never sent to you, and that you found out from the bank where it was deposited that in fact your name was forged on there. You file your forged instrument with them. They would then notify the bank that it was drawn on the insurance company.
Good point. Paper track. Of course.
I have two real estate questions. The first one is, my husband and I own a condo in Orlando, Florida, which we've never seen and never been to. And management...
How did that happen?
We had come into some money, inherited some money, and we wanted to invest it for the children's future college costs.
And you wound up buying a condo which you have never laid eyes on?
Isn't that terrible? I can't believe we signed the paper.
It is not, in most cases, the wisest thing you could do. That's charitable.
Well,
what possessed you to do that?
Well, a financial planner happened to call us around the time we had this money.
He just called you and solicited you?
Yes, on the phone.
And you listened to him?
We did, and he said, well, I think this is what you should do for the kids for college. Buy this condo, rent it out. It's a good investment.
I don't know where this guy is.
Oh, he's terrible. I mean, well, we don't deal with him anymore.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
So we bought it about 5 years ago for...
Right at the height of the market.
Right, $58,000 with a 2-year guaranteed rental. And we were getting about $500 rent from it.
Right, $6,000 a year.
Right.
How much did you pay for it?
$58,000.
Oh, it's just about right. Go ahead.
Okay. I've seen pictures. No, I guess I haven't seen pictures of it, but a description of it. It sounds pretty nice. I've been told that it's nice.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
Why haven't you gone down and looked at it?
Well, we don't have the money.
The airplane tickets are on sale all the time.
I know. Well, I don't know. I guess we just felt it was too much money. It's not furnished or anything. It's just there. And it was purely for an investment.
How much did you put down in this little gem?
I think $20,000. We owe $43,000.
Wow.
So we got an income from it for 2 years, and then for 6 more months, the people that were in it stayed in there, and then it was vacant for at least 6 months, if not longer.
Yeah.
We had a management firm trying to rent it for us. We switched management firms, and this other management firm had somebody in there for maybe 6 months, and then it was vacant again. Where it is right now, we've been trying to sell it for about 2 years, I would guess. The current situation is we owe $43,000. We have a mortgage, principal, interest, and taxes is $500. A condo fee is about $90. And the management fee is $36.
Oh, you're in a no-win situation.
Right, and the rent we're only getting $450 now.
It's time to cut your losses. How much could you get for it?
We've told we asked the management firm who's also trying to sell it to us for us.
Yeah.
How much we could sell it for and just get out of it without making any money.
Never mind making any money. How much can you get for it?
Get for it?
You're making money or not is not the issue right now.
Okay.
What will it sell for, do they think?
Well, they've dropped it down from, we started at like 56, I think, 58, 56, down to 55. No one's even looking at it.
Well, it's priced too high.
That's what I told them. I said, come down as far as you can, but we want to at least pay the mortgage and then...
No, you don't understand.
The broker
Look,
fee?
Sweetheart, you're stuck.
I know what you're saying.
You made a stupid mistake. You got to get out.
Right.
And if you have to get out for a lower, you take your hit.
Okay, I know what you're saying.
Well, that's what it comes down to.
Okay, well, I've been trying to tell them that. And the management firm says, well, we think it's worth this. And I keep saying, well, it's not selling, so it can't be worth that. So we just tell him?
Absolutely.
Keep telling him. You keep going down $1,000 a month until you sell it.
Well, that's one way to do it, yeah. But, I mean, you are showing a lot more sense than he.
I think so, too.
Because if it's not worth any more than that a willing and able buyer is prepared to pay.
I've heard you say that, and I believe it.
That's what worth is all about.
Right, but how do I convince someone?
You don't have to convince him.
Just tell him.
Fire him.
Okay.
Pick another broker.
He's the third one I've had. How do you pick one?
Well, that's another question.
Okay.
I just think you're overpriced.
All right.
I wish you well, dear.
And I just hope that... Just keep telling him to lower it until it's over.
But don't just have an automatic lowering. You say, this is how much it's... You list it for this amount.
Right.
That's it. Okay. That is your call. He has nothing whatever to say about that.
All right.
Nothing.
So I tell him to list it for 50?
Whatever the number is.
Whatever I want.
You pick the number.
But what if no one sells it? Then I call him and say, okay, drop it. All right, I see.
It is not a happy picture. I understand that.
Right, but I agree. I want to get out of it.
I do wish you well, dear. That's a nuisance. I understand that. And you made a bad decision, but we've all made those. I'm Bruce Williams. I'd like to get my hands on the guy that has called himself a financial planner, calling you on the phone and recommended this. This is Talknet. We're going now to Des Moines, Iowa. WHO country. Hello there.
Hi. I have a question for you regarding profit sharing.
You don't.
My former employer, I was with the company for about 7 years, and they had a profit sharing plan. And the day that I left, the owner of the company explained to me that he was the administrator of the profit sharing plan.
All right.
And it was up to him to decide whether he wanted to release it to me now or keep it until I retire. And he decided he was going to keep it until I retire. Mm-hmm. And what I'm wanting to know is that his decision to make?
I don't know.
How do I find out?
Well, you have to know how the plan, I think, has been set up under and has certain provisions that he has to adhere to.
Okay.
And you want to know how ask him what authority allows him to do this.
Okay. Well, when I was a good employee, but I went to a competitor, and I created a lot of hostility when I left. So I guess I hesitate to ask him.
You have to ask him.
I can't, the place that's handling it, I can't ask them.
You can.
And they would tell me?
Well, I don't know that. You said, can I ask him? I said, yeah, you can ask him.
Well,
whether they can tell you or not, I don't know. I don't know if he has that right or not. I just don't know.
Okay.
I doubt seriously if he's going to tell you that he has that right and does not, but I mean, that's another story.
Well, I guess that's why I didn't think it'd make any difference to ask him. He's telling me he's decided to do that.
But that's one thing, but ask him under what provision or under what authority he does it. Tell you what, maybe we can find somebody who has a better answer than that. Very likely we can. I'm going to put you on hold for just a minute, okay?
That's fine.
Who is responsible for making that determination whether a profit sharing plan will be paid out when an employee leaves or not? Under what authority? How is that established, or is it established individually when the plan is set up or whatever? If you are knowledgeable in areas of that kind, I'd like to hear from you at 703-413-8381. 703-413-8381. I really appreciate it. In the meantime, let's go on to Concord, California. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, let's do it, guy.
Hi, how are you?
I am well.
Long-time listener, love your show, Bruce.
Thank you very much.
I was curious about something. I'm in a rather specialty insurance business. We do motorcycle insurance only.
That's it?
That's it.
No kidding. And clearly you make a living at that, huh?
Well, I'm not going to say on the air. We have 3,500 customers this year by the time the year will be up.
Do you really?
Yeah. I'm a one-man shop.
And you got
with a $5 an hour helper.
3,500 policyholders?
3,500 policyholders.
Yeah, you're making money, I'm sure of that.
Every now and then I look up to the sky and say thank you.
Yeah. How do you service that many people with only one person to help you?
Well, we've kind of developed a little computer program for ourselves.
Yeah.
We've hooked up everything. Policy changes are electronically faxed.
How about claims?
Huh?
How about claims?
Because of our size and our reputation, all the companies do the claims for us.
Is that right?
Honest to God, yeah. It works out well.
I'm sure it does.
What I was wondering is, because of those numbers, the size, the reputation we have, I'm starting to maybe bring one other member on to help me run the business.
Don't you think it's time?
And I was thinking about the idea of trying to do seminars with other insurance people, kind of maybe showing them some unique marketing tips, advertising, how to streamline, slim down their office operations.
Well, you see, you've picked one relatively narrow area. Would the same techniques apply for a multi-lines office?
Possibility. I mean,
I don't know. I'm asking the question. I'm not giving you a point.
Well, I know that in your book you said you were in the insurance industry.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Okay. They seem to be, especially out here in California, because of all the legislation and so on, which another thing you say in your book, it's a good industry to stay out of because of that.
Well, I am not enthusiastic over enterprises that are overregulated. That's
right. But I was just thinking that a lot of agents who I know who are doing multi-line and so on are singing the blues. And that maybe the time is primed right now to maybe hear another, some even slightly alternative approach to it.
Well, what do you have to lose by trying?
Well, absolutely nothing.
But there's another side to that cookie, isn't there?
What's that?
Well,
I knew you'd point it out.
Well, I'm just consider this.
Okay.
If you go into the seminar business,
right.
The one currency you are going to have to contribute is your time.
Right.
Now, if you took a a similar amount of time and devoted it to writing new business, how much would you make versus how much could you make running seminars?
Well, again, because of how unique it is, the business I have here will probably still write a considerable amount of business because of just...
That isn't the issue.
Okay, how much would I lose versus how much would I gain?
How much more would it write if you stayed there and concentrated your efforts on that enterprise as contrasted with going out and giving seminars?
Well, from your experience, and then I'll answer your question, okay? Someone who's a very good public speaker, very well presented, can talk from really a point of authority, expertise, have numbers to back it up.
Yeah, I'm not questioning...
What kind of money can be brought in on seminars?
Oh, there's no. Some people will work for $500 a night, and some for $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a night.
Well, I'm not looking at that. I'm thinking, you know.
Well, no. You see, you asked the question. That's the answer to the question. That there are some of these fellas and gals that make very important money, and others that make. You have to determine what you can earn, and you set the rates, and you see if anybody's willing to go for it.
Right.
And then, if you devoted a similar amount of time, I'm not talking about just the night you're speaking, but putting the whole thing together, all of the effort that goes into it.
Right.
If you, let's assume that it takes, and you really don't want to cheat, you've got to determine really what you're spending in terms of time. Let's say it takes 40 hours, which is, I don't believe you could do it in 40 hours.
Okay.
To set it up. How many more policies could you have written if you stayed home? And how much would that have earned you?
Well, on average during...
No, wait, I don't want to answer it here.
Okay.
I'm saying that is the question that you'll have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to overlook the fact that if you write something, it could be on the books for 10 years generating money.
Well...
The seminars are one... Well, no, I'm just saying that...
Again, motorcycles, we jokingly say your motorcycle insurance is your excess baggage in life. When the missus gets pregnant to buy the house...
I understand all that. I'm just pointing out that that's something that you could overlook in your calculations.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
What I'm saying, I guess, is it ain't broken. Why are you trying to fix it? You're making a ton of money doing what you're doing. Why not concentrate your efforts to do it even better and do more of it than to mess around with what you're talking about? Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it, it might be fun, go for it. I do wish you well, Guy. I was talking with a lady in Des Moines, Iowa, and we were talking about her profit sharing. I've got an expert in Rochester, New York, who would like to contribute, and I'm grateful for that. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
Nice to talk to you.
Oh, I'm glad you called. Okay, the lady has... You talk to her.
Okay, is she on now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, ma'am, the first question, may I ask, what state is this in discussion with?
I'm in Iowa.
Well, I'm not sure about any particular laws there, but the rules are probably pretty basic. There are federal laws. And I guess your concern is you don't want to go to your previous employer.
No, I just can't imagine him giving me an honest answer. He's telling me it's his decision to make, and he's made it.
Well, I can tell you this, is that you certainly would be privileged to go right to the Department of Labor, tell them where you were an employee, mention the plan, and give them whatever particulars you can about the plan, and they should be able to supply you with all the information with reference to it. And then what you need to find out primarily is what the trust says. Because if there's a trust governing the plan, which I'm sure there is, and the particulars are in there, what the duties of the administrators are. And
aren't these established when the profit-making plan is put into operation?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Aren't the particulars established when you first put the plan together?
Yes, they are, yes.
And they have to be adhered to.
That's
but
right,
the question
absolutely, or you can't get the plan approved.
Yeah, but the question is, where would you get that, for lack of a better term, a bill of particulars? Where would you get that?
Two places. Either you get it through the IRS in Des Moines.
On that particular plan?
On that particular plan, certainly. You have to find out where they filed.
Okay.
And you could easily get it from them. And you should have received one at the particular time they issued the plan.
Well, I get a notice every year that tells me what's in there and how much I make, but it doesn't really tell me anything. It's just a printed sheet.
Well, at
least it gives you
where to write to if you have any particulars or questions.
Yes, it does have the name of the company that's holding it.
Well,
that's who I should call?
You should start with them.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rochester. We're kind of fresh out of time, but I do appreciate it. And on your statement, if there is the company listing and an account number, I'm confident that would be the place to begin. And they should give you, they have no reason, and maybe a lot of good reasons not to lie to you. I do wish you well, remember this one. This is Talknet. All righty, shall we go to Reading, Massachusetts and see what's happening? Thank you for joining me.
Hello, Bruce. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing just fine, thanks.
I'm glad you took my call. I'm in the middle of a real estate dilemma.
A dilemma?
A dilemma.
One dilemma coming up. What's up?
My wife and I are trying to refinance a vacation property in New Hampshire, only to find out through a bank appraisal that the loan-to-equity value for the loan we're requesting is too low. That's at one figure, which is, for the sake of this discussion, we'll say $80,000. And we've had a recent town tax assessment.
Tax assessment is meaningless. Don't even talk about it.
Well, that's what I thought too, until the town described their rationale for the basis of the assessment, which was, I guess, their opinion of the 100% market value
Fair
of the
market
property.
value. Okay.
Yeah, which is the same goal of the, at least by description, of the bank assessment.
It is the same goal, except that a far more important consideration in regard to the community is parity among all of the taxable properties in the community.
Yes.
Well, that's the far more important factor. When you have a reassessment, when you hire a firm, and it's almost always done by an outside firm. The reason being that they can leave afterwards. They don't have to be lynched.
Right.
Because nobody's ever been happy with a reevaluation program. Nobody.
Right.
They're far more concerned with making certain that the houses are assessed appropriately in terms of their relativity, relativeness to the guy next door and down the street.
Okay, yeah, that part I understand.
So, I mean, to use a tax assessment, you're telling me the tax assessor is saying it's worth more than the bank guy.
That's correct.
But that doesn't matter. Has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, would one be likely a more accurate reflection of the market value of the property than the other?
It really has nothing to do with accuracy either. What do you think of that?
Well, one of them has to be more correct than the other, I would think, because they're 25% apart.
It doesn't matter, though. It matters to you maybe because you may be over-assessed. To that extent, it may matter. Fair? But hold on now.
That matters, yeah.
But as far as the bank is concerned, the lender, right?
Yep.
They're going to look at their appraiser and say, "Hey, Johnny Appraiser, I want you out there and we're giving you your orders for the day.
Yep.
We want you to be extremely conservative. If you make a mistake, make a 20-point mistake in favor of us. We cannot get hurt by loaning on a higher ratio, but we can get killed by loaning on a lower one, which is what happened to a lot of lenders in the 1980s, as you well know.
Yep.
And people say, I'll give it back, when they never had it to begin with.
Yep.
And the way to protect yourself against that is have a very, very conservative appraiser, and that's what they do.
Okay.
And they're under no obligation whatever to give a liberal appraisal. All they say is, these are the conditions to borrow money from us, and if you don't want to borrow the money, that's perfectly okay.
Then don't do it.
That's right.
Yeah. Would there be any opportunity, since the town assessment is based on comparables also, to introduce those comparables to the bank and have them review it?
They're not going to do it.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you why in a minute. Stick around. I'm
Sure.
Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Reading, Massachusetts. He wants to refinance a vacation home and is a little bit put out because what it brought down to its essence, he doesn't like the appraisal that the bank's appraiser put on the value the bank's appraiser put in the house. That's what it comes down to, right?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. And you see, there's a disincentive for the bank, and I think you must understand this. There's plenty of people like you that want to refinance.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of customers.
Oh, I'm sure, especially right now.
That's right. Now, the problem is if the bank sticks their neck out and you default, because let's face it, if something happens to your income stream and you got your primary home and a vacation home, which one are you going to protect?
Oh, primary.
Absolutely. So given that set of circumstances, the bank is going to be reluctant to stick their neck out very far, particularly because there's plenty of business out there where they don't have to stick their neck out.
Yeah,
so
that makes business sense.
That's the end of the story right there.
Yeah.
There's no compelling reason for them to go out on a limb, particularly given the recent history of appraisals that were a tad generous to begin with, and then real estate, particularly vacation real estate, and condominiums probably right at the top of the list.
Taking a big hit.
Yeah. What if you were sitting on the loan board? What position would you take?
Probably the same one.
Be conservative.
Sure.
And as far as taking the community thing up there, they're going to say the same thing I did. Their reaction is, what do they know?
Right.
And the answer is not much many times.
Right.
They're
both sides have taken that attitude.
Yeah, well, the point is that the community probably doesn't know as much.
Yeah.
If you want to get real, that's just the way life is.
But it's a moot point anyway.
It is moot. You have to put up more money. That's what it comes down to.
Well, let's approach it this way. What's your experience on how much variation there might be from appraisal to appraisal?
Oh, dramatic.
Yeah.
But you got to realize the appraiser has been instructed, be conservative.
Yep.
They might even tell them, knock 20 points off, right? Never mind just a general statement. They may tell them, this is what we want you to knock off.
But there
we
might
want
be
this much cushion in there.
Might be a chance, however remote, if we approach this refinancing with another bank, their appraisal will come in.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. The other part of that, a lot of times they won't even tell you what the appraisal is. Frequently, even though you pay for it, the lender will not tell.
Yeah. In this case, they did share it with us.
That in itself is not really ordinary. The reason being is that you're liable to go out and do something dependent on that information and get burned and go back to them and say, well, what I did was because the information you gave me, I got hurt. I'm coming after you.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
That's another whole side to this issue.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Long term as far as resale later on?
Yeah, hopefully get your money. See, people have always gone to the idea, I'm going to buy a house and get rich.
Yeah.
Well, that may not happen. A lot of people are like, if you get out, you've got to realize if you live there for 10 years and you get what you put into it out of it, you're way ahead of the game.
Yeah, so if I'm staying around, I should keep what I have for 10 years then at least, rather than buying it on, let's say, not a fixed, but a
variable?
Yeah,
that's a whole other discussion. What I'm getting to is that you might want to start going down in that direction toward the Springs.
Okay.
And you might find 30 or 40 miles out of town that you can find something you can afford.
But I should get something rather than renting it.
I didn't say that. I'm looking for options for you.
I see.
You have no chance of buying in Beverly Hills, man.
Sure.
No chance of buying in downtown L.A. on your income. Isn't that going to happen?
Okay.
You might find something out, as I said, coming east a little bit. I just mentioned Palm Springs, if you know about other places.
Yeah.
But I do know that you can buy condominiums in that area for a fraction of what you pay for them in Los Angeles proper. That's just a fact of life. Good luck on your new marriage, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. And yes, this is Talknet.
WSBD.
Akron, Ohio. Hello there. Welcome.
Yes, Bruce.
Yes, ma'am.
First-time caller. I'm a widow, 68, on a fixed income, and I saw a car in the paper 2 weeks ago that I thought could suit my pocketbook, and I went to look at it, and when I got there, they told me it was sold. So I said, well, do you have anything else? He says, yes, we got a nice demo.
A nice demo, huh?
Yes.
You sound like my friend Dick Brennan. He's always looking for demonstrators and all this sort of thing, and comes home, with his pockets picked.
All right, he said, we got a nice demo.
Yeah.
He said, a salesman out having breakfast in it right now.
He's having breakfast in the demo,
he said, when they bring it back, he said, you can try it out and see how you like it.
All right. Let me ask you, so you're retired?
I'm a widow.
You mentioned that. Are you working?
No.
Well, why are we buying a new car?
Well, this was an 88.
Well, why are we buying a new car? Why are you spending that much money? Do you have plenty of money to spend?
Yeah, I put plenty down.
You have plenty of down?
Oh, yeah, I put plenty down. My payments are only $100.
Well, why are you making payments to begin with?
Well, I didn't have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then why are you?
Well, I don't know. I can borrow from my bonds. I got bonds.
What I'm getting to, how much, I'm going to ask you some personal questions, all right? How much money are you worth right now?
Well, I got $18,000 in bonds, and I've got about $2,000 in my savings account.
That's $20,000. What else?
And I've got maybe $2,000 in my checking account.
That's it? And you own your own home? You have no business buying a new car.
Well, I don't really call this a new car.
It certainly is a new car. You should be buying... 88 is a new car. Demonstrator is a new car. And why aren't you buying a car 4 or 5 or 6 years old?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted something that would last me for the rest of my life.
Well, okay. How old are you?
68.
Okay. I just think you're spending too much of your assets on an automobile just now. How much does the car cost?
$7,000.
Well, maybe not. Okay. So you bought this demonstrator.
All right. And this is my problem. I bought it, and when I brought it home, the odometer wasn't working. It was dead. And so was the speedometer dead.
Well, it's all part of the same cable.
All right. I asked him why the odometer was dead, and he couldn't give me any answer. And I said, now, how do I know these are 13,000 actual miles on this car?
That's no demonstrator at 13,000, Bubby.
And he said, I looked at him and in a funny way, and I said, this car, I said, has been on a lot here since 87, since it's 88. And I said, you've been driving this car in 87, 88, and 89. And I said, you can't tell me these are 13,000 actual miles. And he said, yes, I can. I said, how? I said, the odometer's stopped. But I took it anyway. So now what can I do about it?
Well, I don't know. First of all, they cannot deliver the car legally with a broken odometer.
That's right. Why did he even put it on a lot?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. And furthermore, if they knowingly sell a car that's had a broken odometer, they have to tell you about that.
Yes, he told me.
Told you what?
Disconnected.
What?
They told me it was disconnected.
Why was it disconnected? That's illegal.
I don't know.
All right. What I would suggest that you do is that you give the Consumer Affairs Office in Akron a call.
Well, I did call the prosecutor's office.
All right, what happened there?
And they told me they gave me an 800 number to call the Attorney General.
All right, did you do that?
Yes.
And what happened there?
Well, they sent me a form to fill out.
And what happened after that?
Well, I have to fill it out, and I just wondered if I should or not.
Yes, of course you should. It's a crime. It's against the federal law to disconnect odometers.
They should have, if they wanted to sell that car, they should have.
It has nothing to do with. No, you're not listening, sweetheart.
No.
It has nothing to do with they wanted to sell it. Of course, they want to sell it, but it's a federal crime to disconnect the odometer. You're just not allowed to do that anymore. So they've clearly violated the law. Is it still disconnected?
Oh yes.
Well, just what you ought to do: fill out that form, and also give your Consumer Affairs Office a call. The Consumer Affairs Office in town. Give them a call. Fair enough? And they should be able to help you, because clearly these guys are wrong, and you should be able to avoid the transaction. Wendover, Nevada, hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Stumbled across you by accident a few years ago, and now you're stuck with me.
I'm glad you stumbled on me. I mean, you know, there's my broken and battered body, and you stumbled all over it. Didn't even offer me a little help, huh? What's happening, kid?
Well, I got a problem. I'm an over-the-road truck driver. And a year ago, well, in fact, it's about a year ago this month, my wife and I decided we wanted to make a geographical move for our residence.
From?
Well, we were living in central Illinois at the time.
Whereabouts?
Champaign.
Okay, and you decided to go up to Nevada?
Well, no, I'm just passing through today.
Oh, okay. Where did you decide to move to?
Well, we weren't sure at the time. So we put everything into storage in a storage room, national firm, nationwide firm.
All right.
Making monthly rental, I guess you'd call it, payments on this storage room. And she went out on the road with me, see the country, decided maybe she'd see someplace she'd really like to move to.
Just gonna bum around the country looking, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. So what happened?
Well, about the first of the year, that job turned sour, and I had to look for a different company to go to work for. We settled on a company in Wisconsin, just north of Chicago, across the state line.
Okay.
And, of course, they wouldn't that company wouldn't allow her to ride with me, so we got a small apartment. And I went to work, and we got things caught up, started retrieving things from storage, piece at a time, as we found room for it. Explained everything to the gentleman down there, what was going on, you know, no problem with payments being a little bit late, etc. We'd done business with him for about 3 years prior.
All right.
And so everything's going fine. Now, about the middle of summer, 1st of July, everything's nicely caught up. We're looking for a bigger place. We decided, we can afford to get everything out of storage and at least move it closer to us, even if we don't have a place to put it yet.
Okay, so where we going with all this?
Well, my wife called him about 2 weeks ago to find out what the total was. And understand, we've been in touch with him and been in there personally once a month since the first of the year. They told us our possessions aren't there anymore.
What do they do with them?
They held a public auction and sold them.
You're kidding.
$100 grab bag deal. What's in the room, you get.
Is that right?
Tried to get a hold of the manager, find out he's not there anymore. He's been fired. New management. They referred me to a district office. And all they're basically saying was, well, it says in your contract, if your rent is more than 30 days late, this is our option. We just talked to you and everything was fine,
But and by the letter of the law, by the letter of the contract, though, you're telling me that they operated within their contract.
Well, I tell you the truth, Bruce, I wasn't even aware we had a contract till I got looking on the back of the receipt.
Yeah.
There is no signed contract. There's places for signatures for them to sign, for us to sign.
And you signed it?
Nobody signed it.
No.
They didn't. We didn't.
How much was all this stuff worth that you had sold?
Well, that's the kicker. We're talking antiques and electronics and everything we had, Bruce. Everything.
And they just sold it without notifying you?
Well, they tried. This is another part of the conflict we have with them. We kept them updated of our address, current address, phone number, and everything. They sent a certified letter around the 1st of June when the new management came in to our old address in Champaign. Naturally, we don't live there anymore.
Did you have a forwarding address?
We sent in a forwarding address, and we're still getting mail, but that particular letter got sent back to them.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I know I need to consult an attorney, but I just
I would certainly consult an attorney.
We're talking property value total in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 grand.
And they sold it for how much? $100?
They said they sold it for $100.
Boy, oh boy.
What really threw us off at first, of course, sentimental value and all that.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that can never be replaced.
How long ago was it sold?
They're telling, they won't even tell us that.
Did they tell you to?
The notice was sent out 1st June.
Did they tell you to whom they sold it?
They won't do that.
Yeah, I'd get an attorney right away because it may be that you could contact the person who purchased it, make some kind of an arrangement with them.
Well, that's what we tried, said, hey, even if they have a legitimate bill of sale and all that, at least maybe we could get back personal items like family photos.
Yeah, what'd they say?
No deal.
No, I'd contact an attorney that operates wherever this company is domiciled and get on it right away, because every day that slips past, your position weakens and the chances of stuff existing weakens. Good luck. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet.
PD.
Let's go to the seat of learning, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi, Mr. Williams.
Hi.
My husband and I don't recall sending in any sort of sweepstakes entry, but ironically, we were recently informed that we have won third prize in some sweepstakes.
Oh, nice.
Right. Well, that's what we thought, and I was ready to put on my bikini until I started reading what we've won.
What did you win? Put your bikini on anyway. What the heck?
Well, 5,000 square feet of unimproved land
in the El Dorado Ranch Estates.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, do we know about that? Of course.
Well, I became suspicious when I'm reading that they won't have telephone service for at least 2 years.
So that's what they tell you, please call us here because there's no phone service, but we're on the waiting list.
Right.
And there's no sewers or electricity, and no gas or no roads.
That's right.
No water.
That's right.
And but they sent you some pictures that said this is how it could look someday.
Yes, with what looks like a dead dog on the property.
Furthermore, you didn't win the property.
Oh.
What you got is the right to use the property.
That's right. Now, is that...
That's because it's illegal for an American to own property there.
Yes, they do mention that.
Got to be Mexicano.
Uh-huh. What happens if I sign this form and agree to pay their annual management fee?
$29.
Well,
or is it $14 and change? Which one do you have? That's that's half a year, not a year.
Yes.
So it's $29 a year as right the first time.
Right. Now, if I...
Why would you want to do that? All you're doing is sending this pen company another $14. Why would you want to do that?
I can go there and pitch a tent and look out at Mexico as long as I know I'm not going to be hit with charges to improve the property.
Cut me a break.
What do you think?
I think you would send me the $14.
Yeah.
I need it more than they do.
Yeah, seriously, that's what we figured, but we didn't know how.
They've been doing quite a job, these guys.
Have they?
Yeah, I mean, how do you think I know about this? First of all, I was solicited. Secondly, a number of very kind listeners have sent me material on it. The problem has been addressed by other people doing what I do. So yeah, I've been around this one.
Oh, okay.
It's a promotion by a pen company. You have a business of some kind, I bet you.
No.
No?
Ironically not, no.
That's because they're the people they target by and large are business people.
Oh.
But they're trying to sell you. They'll try to sell you some pens as well. There's so many permutations of this whole thing, but you get nothing for nothing, Booby. So get the bikini out, but I don't think you're going to use it there.
Not in Mexico.
No. Well, listen, there's no reason why you shouldn't go to Mexico.
Well,
but just not this particular deal.
Not as a temporary landowner, anyway.
But you aren't even a landowner. You're only a user.
Yeah, until the year 20...
30 years.
Yeah, 19.
Right. Well, it's 30 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, thanks anyway.
Did I pop your balloon?
Oh, no, not really. I think we were geared up for that.
So send me the $14.50. I can use it.
Well, good thing I didn't let my husband sign. He was ready to.
He was ready to go, huh?
The company probably wanted them to use their pen to do it.
I wish you well there.
Thanks a lot.
Hang in there. Let's go make some money. I'm Bruce Williams. Take a deep breath. This is Talknet. Now we go to Staten Island. Hello there.
Good afternoon, Bruce.
Hi.
I enjoy your show. This is about the only time I can call you is when in the middle of the week.
Well, I'm delighted you called.
Okay, good. I don't have the problem, but I'm a little annoyed at the problem. My daughter has it.
All right, let's
she's
talk.
getting married the end of September, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And her and her future husband went out and they booked the honeymoon.
All right.
Okay? Now they booked it, I guess, in May or so.
Whatever.
And in July, it's on her credit card. 2.5 months before she's going to use it?
Absolutely.
But if she doesn't pay for it...
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. They made a reservation for her, right?
That's right.
Well, why would they keep that reservation open for her without money?
Well,
suppose she decided to go the last minute when the marriage is off.
Yeah.
Oh, who's going to pay for the trip? She is, whether she goes or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, at that case, then someone else would use it, but then...
No. Yeah, but you're missing the point. I'm a tour operator, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you not pay me and then make a reservation.
Okay, can I give you another thing?
Suppose you wanted to buy... Oh, just hold on now. Suppose you want to buy an airline ticket, right?
Yeah.
And you wanted the cheapie ticket.
Yeah.
You got to pay for it now, and if you don't use it, too bad, Charlie. They're non-cancelable and not changeable.
Okay, that's true.
If you want to... But wait a minute.
Okay.
If you want the privilege of being able to cancel anytime you want to, all you do is pay the full fare.
Yeah, I understand that. I do fly.
Okay.
I do that myself.
So if you make a reservation on an airplane 2 months in advance, you got to pay for it then.
No, you don't, Bruce.
No, I beg your pardon. You certainly do.
Hold it, Bruce. I have bookings already for Buffalo, for the kid going back to school and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've got bookings for him to come down for the wedding, and I have not paid them, and I have never paid
Are
them.
you getting Are you getting the bargain fares?
Yes, I am.
Well,
I'm paying $150 if that's a bargain.
I don't know if you're getting the lowest fares. That when you go into that computer, you have so many days to get ticketed.
1 day.
No, it's not true.
Yeah.
Well, there may be on that particular. I mean, I fly a great deal more. I got to believe more than you do.
Oh, of course you do.
All right, now
I'm not.
I'm taking a flight in the next couple of weeks. All right.
Right.
That particular one even though I'm going first, you got to book 30 days in advance.
Right.
And pay for it right then. When you have the ticket issued, it's got to be charged to you. End of story. When a ticket is issued.
I understand
now
that.
there are some routes that you can do it 7 days in advance.
Okay, Bruce, I understand this, and I don't have a problem with this. Where my thing lies is why now it's the same airline that I use regularly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The same one, and they're the ones that are billing me for the honeymoon that hasn't.
I'm trying to explain to you that on a package deal, you got to pay when you make the reservation. Pay.
Okay.
Now, if you walked in with cash, then you paid for it, haven't you?
Okay.
If you gave them a check, you paid for it. You put it on your credit card, it comes up as a charge.
Yeah. It was just that when I use the thing for back and forth to Buffalo, and I've had to, you go in and you buy the tickets whenever you can cheap.
Yeah. And you got to pay for them then.
I pay for them, but they don't bill me for them.
They certainly do. You certainly do. If you give them your credit card number, it's billed. It just may be that particular time it slipped through the cracks and didn't get credit till the next bill. But they bill you as soon as you give the charge. When you give the number to them, your credit card number to the airline,
right?
They have a right to bill you that afternoon.
They do.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying, but it always seemed like to me that it never came up until after the ticket was used.
That may be the case, but that's a matter of being sloppy more than anything else.
Well, this company, I guess is not the greatest one.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying that's true or not. What I'm trying to get to is when you make a reservation, that when the ticket, if I've made reservations in advance,
right?
But there's a period when you got to be ticketed. Now, as I mentioned, I can tell you specific flights that they let you ticket up to 3 days in advance. There are others 30 days in advance. Well, when the ticket is issued, because that ticket's as good as cash, you realize that.
Yeah.
It gets charged right then.
Yeah.
And it goes onto your credit thing. Now, it may be a couple of months before it happens to get plugged in. Just as you could go down in Staten Island right now and have lunch and dinner on your credit card.
Right.
And the lunch charge may show up on the next statement. The dinner charge may show up 2 statements from now.
Yeah.
You had the dinner the same day.
Yeah.
But in the one case, the guy may have a direct tie-in, as I do in our stores now, where it instantly.
I know, when they run the black stripe on the card.
Exactly. And other guys will still have the old-fashioned slips that you have to put a batch header and mail it in and so on and so forth, and it may lay around his store for 10 days.
Right.
So that, but as far as you're concerned, the instant you use the card, that thing is in commerce someplace.
Okay, one other aside now. Thank you for your help, but one other aside. Usually I listen to you in the nighttime, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the fall, you are preempted in the New York area.
By what, hockey, I think?
No, by the baskets.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to chase you up to 1520 in Buffalo. I don't know what it is, WWBA or something?
Yeah, they're a killer 50,000 watt station.
I could chase you up to Buffalo. I can pick you up there and in Rochester.
That's the Rochester's WHAM, another 50,000 watt station.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we are preempted by sports all over the country. It's the nature of our business.
Yeah, I know. But like I said, it's funny chasing you.
Well, I appreciate you taking the effort.
Okay.
And there are a couple of New Jersey stations that you could probably get as well.
No, Bruce,
Yeah, there really is. There is one.
Yeah?
Try 1450.
Okay, thank you very much.
I wish you well, my friend.
Bye-bye.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet.
This is Jack Shea. When news happens, WSPD is there, and we'll cover all the angles. AM 1370 WSPD is Toledo's news station.
Seattle, Washington. Hello there.
Bruce.
Hi.
I've got a little problem I need to discuss with you. I need to make a decision, and I don't know enough to do that, and I thought you might be able to help me out a little.
Let us talk.
A couple years ago, I went to work in the insurance business. I was actually sold on the idea. I was 7 years in my prior career, and it was a family deal. My dad was in the business, and
what was you? In what capacity?
As an agent.
Okay.
And
we talking casualty? We talking life or what?
We're talking property, casualty, life, the whole everything.
All right, generally.
It's a major company, not the one that you were upset with the other night, but a major company.
Got you covered.
Anyway, I spent 2 years there, and things didn't work out the way that I expected they would, and Well, also I need to tell you, during that time, they were subsidizing my income while I'm supposedly growing my agency. Okay? And I amassed what amounted to just over $28,000 in debt during that time to the company.
This is your draw.
Right, basically. Well, it's called a subsidy, and at the end of the 2-year period or 5-year period, depending on what you're on, you pay them back at 2% per month. Okay, which you're taking at that point, supposedly your agency has grown to a point where you can afford to do so. Anyway, I didn't particularly care for that business, and I stuck with it because, again, it was a family situation. And then I had a super opportunity come along, which is almost a family situation. I'm managing now I changed jobs, and since June 1st, I'm managing a construction outfit, actually a subcontractor, insulation subcontractor, which looks to be a super career opportunity. I'll probably be here for the next 20 years as far as I can tell after a couple months now. My problem, though, is that along with that $28,000, I've probably got $4,000 or $5,000 on credit cards.
No, do they still want their 28 grand?
Yeah, they still want it.
They don't forgive that, and because a lot of the companies will forgive that in return for the business you put in the books.
Well, they got the policies, but they also want their money.
Sure.
And
how much business did you write in that 2-year period?
Quite a bit. I was one of their better, they call them career agents, and I say I was one of the upper ones. There was during the 2 years that I was there with the company, I saw, gosh, I don't know, many people get signed up.
Many is not a good thing. I mean, for example, how many automobile policies did you have on the books at the time?
Oh, I probably had, 300, probably 400 or 500 homeowners policies, and then another 50 to 70 life insurance policies. Those are the ones that they really like and push you to go after.
Did they not give you some credit for those?
No, I'm just supposed to pay them back. They get that, that's theirs. In fact, I tried to sell it to my dad for $1, and they wouldn't let that happen until the $28,000 was paid back. Anyway, so here's the problem, is I've got this new job, which I really like. I've been here for over 2 months now, and it appears to be a super position, a super opportunity. However, I'm not making enough to pay my bills. I'm working 2 jobs, and I've got my wife even doing in-home daycare, and she's getting licensed. In fact, next week the lady's coming out to do that. But even with my 2 jobs, this job here, and then in the middle of the night I get up and run papers, and my wife's, we're still not able to cover our current bills, and next month I'm supposed to start paying back this $28,000. And I'm considering, I don't know enough about it, but I'm considering filing bankruptcy and getting rid of this debt. I own a home, and go ahead.
How much equity in the home?
Well, it's hard to say. I bought it for $90,000 3 years ago. I could probably get $150 for it right now. But I don't want to sell it, actually, and that's one of my biggest questions, is if a guy files bankruptcy, is there a way to do it and not lose your home?
Yes. Certainly is.
And then my other question...
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Go ahead.
And then my other question is basically, I guess I'm looking for a formula. You know, how does a guy know how far in debt he has to be before he's gone too far?
Well,
he needs to look for relief.
Well, how much do you said you had 28 grand on this insurance thing. I'm confident that can be negotiated. What else you got?
I've got another, I did negotiate with them a number that,
how much?
Well, $200 a month.
I'm talking about a cash settlement to get out.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm telling you, that can be negotiated. When you walk in there and say, we got a decision to make, fellas, either I go Chapter 7, you get nothing, or I'm going to borrow against my house and I'll give you something, there's a very good possibility that you'd get to something.
Okay.
And that would be, if you could buy yourself out of that for 10 grand, I think you could, cash. You'd be far better off than going bankrupt. Well, that was quick.
Which
2
was
years?
great.
2 years in and out.
Which was great. And I said, that's nice. You can have it as long as you put it in your name and you make the payments, which he agreed to do. Now, we had an agreement. I know now that this agreement, it wasn't a court order. It was an agreement, much to my dismay.
Even if it was a court order, I think I know where you're coming from. It wouldn't make any difference.
Correct, yeah. So what I wanted to do, if she wasn't able to do that, I wanted to sell it because I didn't want to be, for 4 years, worrying about it.
Well, how in the world would you not know that the car was not transferred?
That brings me to my next point. I belong to an organization you pay a fee for that'll tell you if anything's on your credit, if anybody inquires or anything of that nature. They had sent me a repossession inquiry.
Well, let's back up a little bit. Correct. Back up. You're getting ahead of us here. You and your former bride came to an agreement. She gets the wheels and the payment book.
Correct.
She is supposed to transfer the car into her name.
Correct.
And the loan into her name.
Correct.
Now, you didn't do anything to see that you did nothing? So hold it. I think yes or no. Did you? You didn't call up the finance company. You didn't ask for the copy of your return note. Nothing.
No.
Well, you were leading with your chin.
Yes. And well, this is what brings us up to this. When I got the repossession notice,
what do you belong to? TRW?
Pardon?
What do you have, a TRW
Correct,
membership? Okay, so they all of a sudden there's a repossession notice.
Yeah, or inquiry of it.
Yes, I understand.
I called them. I called the institution that we had the loan through.
Right.
And
hold it. Let's stop there again. You said we. Was the loan in your name, her name, or both of your names?
It's in both of our names.
It was in both.
It was in both. She was the co-buyer. I was on the front.
That's what I want to know. Go ahead.
Yeah. I had called them. They didn't even know who I was. They said, "Who are you?" I told them my name, and they said, "Well, that's not the name we have on the contract. She had it in her name and her husband's name." Which, so that was great.
Wait a minute, her new husband?
Her new husband, yeah. They did a little checking. This was on the phone. They did a little checking, and they said, "Oh, yes, here you are." Well, she had requested this to be put in her name. And in order for us to do that, we need a letter from you. Well, I whipped one out as fast as I could, got it in the mail, and sent it off to them. And she had called me back over the phone and said, "Okay, great." I also requested...
Even though it's an impossible repossession, they're willing to take your name off?
Yeah, well, I guess she had paid the payments current, so her account was okay at that time.
I see. Okay.
She hadn't paid for 4 or 5 months. She got it current. Also, I requested that all the bad credit and everything would be in her name because if I had the Jeep, I would have kept it up. They agreed to everything, which I was flabbergasted. I thought that was great.
So am I.
They said, yeah, everything that's great, and they even agreed. Which my ex-wife is being very, very cooperative. She's not trying to, stick me with anything. But she doesn't have the money, of course, to pay for anything. Anyway, they said I was off. So I thought.
Wait a minute. Stop. Just slow down.
Okay.
Did you get something in writing to confirm?
No,
that?
I didn't. I did not.
Just on a telephone, they said, "Don't worry, Harry, your history."
Correct. Don't worry, you're off it. It's all her problem now. Have a nice life. So I never received anything to the notices that she was delinquent. She didn't pay for 1 year, and even hid the Jeep at a mutual friend of ours' house. And we would laugh about it, going, "Boy, I wonder if they would like to know where this Jeep is at." But I wasn't going to say anything because in our agreement, I also agreed not to not to investigate or look for, harass, or call or anything like that. So I wasn't going to do anything. Then, let's see, about in September, they skip traced me down to my home. They called a neighbor's house, and the neighbor came over, and we called the institution, and they said they were looking for her because she hadn't paid it.
You're not in the phone book?
No, we're not in the phone book. And at that time, I said, "Hey, I'm not on the contract." And she said, "Correct. We know you're not on the contract, but we were wondering if you could help us out." And I told them again, well, in the agreement, I agreed not to look for her, but if I do know of anything, I will tell you stuff that I know because I have a mutual friend, but I can't look around for her to do any calling or anything for you. She said, "Great," called her with the information that I had, which was her current home address. And then last month, I got a summons and complaint served to me. From the institution, stating that they want the Jeep back. And within that month's time, the Jeep has been returned. And now they want to make an agreement.
All right, I want you to hold on with that little emotion. When we get back, we'll find out what that agreement is. I'm Bruce Wickens. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Bakersfield, California. Had a short-lived marriage. Car went with wife on agreement. She's supposed to make payments. Bank said, "Okay, you're off the hook if you send us a letter." Sent the letter, never got anything back. Now the bank has hit him with a summons that says
they want me to pay the Jeep in full. Because the contract is void, as what they consider. Now, they offered me a deal, or us a deal, where she turned in the Jeep already. They're going to auction it off, which, of course, is,
that's standard.
And they're not going to get anything for it. I mean, maybe an eighth of what it's worth.
No, that's not necessarily. Nothing prevents you from going to bid.
That's true. That's true.
To bid it up to its value or grab it and sell it, that's your privilege.
That's true. Well, the thing that they're offering is, it sounds okay, but they're offering to sell it, whatever the balance is. In other words, what's owed right now is $13,400.
Still?
That will, because of penalties and fines and attorney's fees. That's what it would cost. If I had that, I could go down there and pick it up myself.
Right.
Now they're offering to auction off whatever's left over. My ex-wife will have to pay in monthly payments.
That's called deficiency.
Correct. But they're not. But the deal they gave her is they won't show a repossession on her mark.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is get their money.
Correct.
And they're trying to that's a bargaining chip from their point of view, because your wife or ex-wife may be a nice person, doesn't sound all that responsible.
Not very. They lost my train of thought here. Oh, they won't put anything on my record. So I won't show the Jeep being on my record, nothing from Brooklyn Financial or repossession. Now the catch is if she makes her payments on time and pays everything.
So
if she doesn't, then it's my responsibility to pay it. So that's my question. Now I have offered the most I can come up with right now. They want to sell this. They extended it to this Friday. They want to sell it. I told them the most I can come up with is $3,500. They will let me have it, the Jeep back. They will. There's no problem with it.
For how much?
They want $5,288, and then I can have it back. And they'll work with me.
Hold on. Let's stop right. Take it easy. What's that thing I have? What year is this?
88.
What's it worth?
I would assume it's only worth about $5,500.
All right. So then they're saying they want to get the full value for it.
Correct. Well, what they're doing is when I pay them the $5,288, that's fine. That's what's owed in penalties and fines for not paying it for a year. But there's still 2 years left on the contract that I have to pay monthly payments on.
You're caught between a very rock and a tough spot.
Correct. And I talked with an attorney friend of mine, and she said that it might be worth it to me to play a little poker and see if my ex-wife will make the payments on time. Because if I go to court on it, it's going to cost me $5,000.
Very possibly.
So that's why
there's no. I'm sure she must have said to you, there's no guarantee you're going to prevail.
Correct.
Because do you have the names of the people that told you all these things?
Yes, we do. That is one thing we do. We do have the names, and the institution says, well, that's fine, you got the names, but they've already been reprimanded, and they weren't supposed to tell you that. They had no authority.
Well, it's possible.
And
but more important. The fact that they admit that they said it may bind the institution. May.
What I think would be fair is if they would. I told them I had $3,500 to put down, and I would take over the payments if they'd like, because that way at least I'm paying a ton of money for it, but at least I have something for my money.
You'll pay the whole $13,000?
Pardon? No. They just want the $5,288. What's it owed?
You're not prepared to obligate yourself for the whole $13,000.
No. And I would like to, but I thought maybe they should work with me since I would think it's both of our fault.
I don't disagree, but why don't you just go out and borrow, get a $1,500 someplace? You'd be better off than have the thing go to auction and bring less.
And so I would be better off to take the possession.
Well, you're telling me the thing is worth $5,500. You could probably go out and turn it for that. At least you've eliminated. That's $55,000. We know they're not going to have to worry about.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you have to go out and borrow short term $1,500, $2,000, I'd do that. I wouldn't try to keep the thing. I'd get rid of it.
Okay.
But to get your money, at least you've done that much, and they've maxed out the value rather than having somebody steal it at an auction.
Correct. Yeah.
So at least you accomplished that. But as to the other thing. The fact that they've admitted that their employee, their agent, made these assertions, if they've admitted this in writing?
No, they haven't.
Well, here we go again.
Via the phone. Yeah.
All this stuff could be recanted, and that's another problem. And who's going to be considered believable in this case? Who knows unless you get before a judge.
Correct.
And as your attorney very properly told you, the litigation costs could exceed the value, and we still don't know if you're going to prevail. Good luck, my friend, but I'd do that with the Jeep itself. For me, I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. The WIBC. Oh, my goodness. Would you push the hold button on the lower bank, please? Thank you very much. Have you done so? Okay, we're going to go to Port Huron, Michigan. That's over on line A. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
This is Dave.
Yes, Dave.
I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm answering a response to the lady who wrote the check, and they used her credit card for a check backup.
Yeah.
Okay, according to my bank, which is one of the leading banks in the state of Michigan, I won't mention the name, I am a retail business owner.
Right.
And we use the credit card terminal, and we use Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and 2 check verification services. And the bank...
Why do you use the check verification service? Tell me.
Okay,
just curious. Well, hold that aside. I'd be curious to hear why you use that.
Okay, it's a service that we subscribe to.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay. Well, one year I got $800 worth of bad paper.
Yeah, but how many checks do you pay them? A percentage, about 1% of all the checks you use?
Right.
And how much do you accept in the course of checks in a year?
Pardon me?
How much do you do in dollar volume in checks a year?
Oh, I'd say about 70% of our business.
How much is that?
We're talking quarter million.
Well, then you're paying them something on the order of $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what.
But you only get hit for $800. You're still $2,000 in the hole.
Well, not really.
No, why? I never could justify it for my business. That's why I'm asking a question.
Okay.
Unless I get burned for over 1%, it's not worthwhile.
Okay. Well, the cost of going to court gets...
Forget about going to court. Let's assume that you get burned for, in your case, for the sake of... I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. Suppose you get burned for $1,000 a year.
Right.
You're still way ahead of paying, in this case, $2,500 for the service.
Very valid point, well taken.
I'll
have to rethink my thinking.
I could never justify it. That's the only reason I asked. I've never been stuck for 1% of my business, and that's what these guys wanted. I've never been stuck for anything close to that. And that's what these guys wanted for the check service. I just could never justify it. And that's why I asked.
Well,
and every time I've asked somebody when they do the arithmetic, gee, we never got stuck that bad either.
Okay, well, by running this check verification service, I only got one bad check in 2 years.
So what?
Okay.
You paid $6,000 for the privilege.
Point well taken.
I just don't see where it pays. Anyway,
okay.
Let's go back to the other thing. I think I know where you're coming from. Your bank says that this is the credit card company saying that you can't use the credit card for this purpose.
Right.
You know why they're telling you that?
I don't know why they're telling you.
I'll tell you why. Because you're using the credit card, and they're getting nothing out of it. The transaction is voided, and they get nothing. Nothing from you, nothing from the other end.
But the bank, this large bank, says you cannot use a customer's credit card for a backup verification.
What did I get through saying?
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I just got through telling you. I think why. It's rather similar to, you want to really get the credit card guy upset at your bank?
Yeah, go ahead.
Use your credit card to rent a car, then walk in and pay cash afterwards.
Right, which I do.
Well, but then that's really screwing the credit card company.
Oh, boy.
Right? You see why? And
they're not getting their interest.
And not only that, they're not getting their service charge, and on top of that, in many cases, on American Express, on some of your gold cards and whatever, they give you collision insurance in the event that there's an accident. So if there's an accident, you wouldn't pay cash, you'd charge it. And if there's no accident, you pay cash, they don't get their percentage. I can see where they're coming from. But from their point of view, it's a lousy practice. But whether it's a practice one can prohibit is another matter.
Right. But another thing that the banks have come up with, that the only information that you can put on the credit card, or on the check, is their driver's license number, state of issue, and date of birth.
On what check?
On any check that is issued.
You can't ask for a telephone number?
Well, the telephone number has to be on there. Their address has to be imprinted, and the phone number's somewhere on the check.
Oh, now who are we talking about now? The check service, you mean?
No.
You lost me altogether. How do we get the checks from here?
Pardon me?
How do we get to a check from here? I don't understand.
Okay, well, we're referring to the lady who...
yeah, I understand. But what's this business about? You can't ask for this, and the other thing.
The banks are saying that you cannot use a credit card as identification on a check.
Well, you don't have to put it on the check itself. Put it on a sales slip, which you can put away somewhere.
See where you're coming from.
Gee.
Then we could run that through the terminal if the check bounced.
That's right.
You're a clever dude.
Right. And what these guys are doing, they're running it through the terminal, period. Then they put it through as a voided transaction, as a credit in 9 days. They put a credit transaction through. Therefore, no blood, nobody pays, and the credit card company has been used with no value to them, and they don't like that very much, and I can understand that.
But the thing of it is, this person's credit has been abused for that period of time.
It hasn't been abused at all. It has been used. They've been maxed out, if you want to use it. Put it that way. But unless they had a card, and I don't know how this works very candidly. There's some credit cards that start charging the moment it hits the computer.
Right.
But I don't know how it's treated if a credit slip is issued for that period of time. I think it's probably voided. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that no transaction took place. So once again, from the point of view of the credit card issuer, they're getting screwed. And you can see why they feel that way.
Right.
Whether or not they are or not, we could argue, but that's not the issue here.
What I will do is I will get a copy of that letter that I received from the bank.
Get it off to me. I'd appreciate it.
And get it off to you. And what should I do? Just send it to care of my local radio station?
You hold on, and Stacy will give you direct address.
Who was on there? Was that Sheila or?
That was Stacy.
Stacy? Hey, she's a clever gal.
Yes, she is indeed. Not bad looking either, kid.
Pardon me?
Not bad looking either. If you're single, send a self-addressed envelope, and she'll send you a picture in a seductive pose.
Well, I'm old, fat, and bald.
I'm Bruce Williams. I'm not going to tell you what I am. This is Talknet. Rome, New York. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I am well, thank you.
I got a small touch of stage fright, so I'll see if I can get this all straight for you.
Not to worry, kid. Go for it.
All right. Last March, my fiancée bought a wedding dress. It was a display model. It was a pretty pricey model, but it was displayed, which means a lot of people had tried it on, and it was like last year's model or something.
How do you tell last year's from this year's model?
Oh, I don't know. But apparently it was on the way out in style. But she liked it a lot. She was real happy with it.
Okay.
And it was a real good price. She got it for about $250, which is way down from what it was marked.
What was it originally?
She said it was over 1,000 originally on the tag anyway. So when she bought it, it had been tried on a lot, and so it was dirty around the cuffs, and it had a couple catches on it. And some of the beading, whatever that is, I haven't seen the dress, of course. Some of the beading needed to be repaired on it. And the store agreed that they would do all these repairs. In addition, some alterations needed to be done so it would fit her properly, and they were going to charge her $150 or so for the alterations.
Boy.
And they were going to get all this done in a month. Okay, well, this dragged out month by month by month, and they showed less and less and less interest in her as time went on. After she charged on a credit card, and as time went on, they just showed less and less interest in her.
Can you tell me what that means? If you really were having a big problem, you have to put another dressing room in someplace. I think you clearly could have a male and a female dressing room.
That's definitely true. You can have a male and a female dressing room. You could, but if you were, for example, to post a sign for men only or women only, it would be prohibited.
I would think so.
And I don't know how it'd be in the rest of the country, but in Massachusetts, I know that would be a very, very dangerous conduct for any retailer to try and exercise.
You and I are riding the same railroad. Thank you so much, Counselor. I really appreciate it.
Very good.
Take good care. We have an attorney in Durham, Maine. Hello, Counselor.
Good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Hi. We got about a minute and a half to share together. Your turn.
Okay. Let me say that I disagree with my brother attorney in Boston.
Okay.
In that I think it would depend upon the local jurisdiction. It may have enacted ordinances, as many have, regarding things like restrooms. Well, what if you have two restrooms or only one restroom? you can certainly, under certain ordinances, prohibit men from going into the ladies' room and ladies from going into the men's room.
If you have two.
If you have two. Now, if you only have one, some of these ordinances do allow you to prohibit the opposite sex from going into a room
at the same time
for the female.
But hold on now. But you don't design a changing room for gender.
Well, but
all you got is a hook on the wall for the other clothes.
But the issue is, has the state in which this woman has her various things enacted the Equal Rights Amendment? Because discrimination on the basis of sex is allowed in some states that have not enacted it. And it also depends upon the particular form of that amendment. There's nothing in the U.S. Constitution that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. We went through that 10 years ago, and it lost.
But in a place of public accommodation.
Well, place of public accommodation is not normally defined as a dress shop. It's usually a place where people eat and sleep and have rooms. So I think it's a more complicated question than he makes out, because there are...
Tell you what, Counselor, can you hang on a second?
Sure.
Let's go around the corner. This is interesting. I'm Bruce Wiggins. Stick around. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with an attorney from Durham, Maine, and we were kind of interrupted, and I did want to carry him over. In that, we had a call from a lady from Greensburg, Pennsylvania, wants to know if she can prevent men from coming into her store. It's a dress store, going to the one changing room that they have, and I assume that only one person goes in at a time into the changing room, and then taking a look at themselves in the mirror. One attorney from Massachusetts says, "No way, Jose." And then I have an attorney from Durham, Mass. who says, "Well, maybe you can keep this guy out." You mentioned, Counselor, the analogy with a bathroom.
Right. When I say you can keep someone out, what I mean to say is you should be looking first at the law of Pennsylvania and second at the municipal ordinances of that town.
Hard for me to believe that the municipality would anticipate something like this.
Well, no, you'd be surprised because oftentimes changing rooms are included within the definition of bathrooms under some of these ordinances.
But are you allowed in most cases? I'm thinking back to my municipal days, to provide, for example, a restroom for only one gender?
Well,
I think you'd be
not in a public accommodation, but this is not a public accommodation. This is a private store.
Well,
and again, it depends upon the definition of whether a public accommodation includes stores. Now, for example, Pennsylvania might say you cannot discriminate in the sale of goods and services by sex.
Well, let's talk about Maine, where you practice.
Right.
Suppose this came up in downtown Portland.
Well, there's two things. First, if I were advising a client the way my fellow attorney in Boston said, I would say, don't do it. Make every attempt to try to accommodate the guy, because it could end up with bad publicity, et cetera, et cetera. But if I were advising the fellow who wants to go in and try the dress on, I would say, look, let's look at the law. First, has Maine adopted the Equal Rights Amendment? Answer, no. Has it tried to accommodate sex in some way in its laws? Yes, to some extent it has. Under its Human Rights Act, discrimination on the basis of sex is prohibited in certain circumstances, such as credit extension, public accommodation. So then I say, well, a public accommodation is defined as the sale of goods and services. And if not, I'd say, look, you probably got the right to go in and barge in. And then the store owner is going to have to say, no, it's not a public accommodation. I got a right to keep you out. This is a woman's dress store, and you're going to disrupt my customers. Now you change the situation slightly by saying that you assume that the dressing room could only accommodate one person.
Well,
that's an easier case than the common women dressing room situations where you got these little curtains and 4 or 5 women can be in just behind these little curtains.
Yeah, but they would be all separate. They would all have their own little stall, so to speak, where they could still be private, even though they're behind a curtain. Whether it was a solid door or curtain, I don't think it would matter very much, would it?
Well,
or would it? I don't know.
Having shot with my wife, sometimes those curtains aren't really very protective.
Well, either are some doors or whatever.
That's true. That's true. It is a difficult case, but I think my only point was it can't be answered universally all across the country and say it's easy, it's out. I think you would have to look at specifically what the state has tried to do to accommodate differences in sex, and some states have been more restrictive than others, or more protective, depending upon how you want to look at it.
Well, you certainly made one point that when you two attorneys together, the one thing you can agree on, they're going to disagree.
Well, and we'll both send you the bill.
That's another given.
That's right.
Hey, Counselor, thanks very much.
Enjoy your show very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, Greensburg.
Well,
I don't think we've gotten you very far. Yeah, maybe we have.
I got a yes and a no.
Well, but you got something more than that. Should we get serious?
Sure.
The one thing you got is if you do deny him, and he wants to play games, it's going to cost you for litigation. You may win, but clearly
He's right about those curtains.
Clearly, pardon?
He's very right about those curtains.
Well,
that's what my very small closet dressing room is.
Well, the answer is get a better curtain.
Yeah. Maybe you know this. Does state law override municipal law?
Yes, in almost every case, state overrides municipal and federal overrides state.
Okay.
And depending, that last statement has to be watched. But in almost every instance, if you have a local ordinance that is not in conformance with state statute, the state statute holds. There may be an exception to that too, but in general, that's a fair statement. When you get to the federal law, then we get into some other areas but we're not going. I'm not an attorney, and it's a little tough, I think, to get into that.
Okay.
Why do you ask that question?
Well, I was just going to go ahead and check into my municipal law.
Yeah, I doubt seriously there'll be much that's going to help you there. But the big thing that you can depend on, if this guy wants to litigate, it's going to cost you a ton of money. Even if you win, you're going to lose. It'd be a lot cheaper to build a back room for him someplace. Really would. It'd be cheaper to put up a men's dressing room. Certainly would.
One more thing.
With a mirror.
I had it suggested to me that I bring up the fact that it was offensive to my religion. In other words, to go at it from a religious standpoint.
In that case,
kind of like a conscientious objector.
You belong in my answer to that, if I were the other guy, you belong in another business then. Your religion has no business in your business. If you want to close on a particular day, that's your business. You got to close for everybody. And what religion, by the way, would you adopt?
Exactly.
The religion of Greensburg or something, huh? I wish you well, dear.
The ladies' dress shop religion.
I do wish you well.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for a refreshingly new question. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Our Talknet family continues to grow. WPLO, welcome aboard, Lawrenceville, Georgia. Les Urban is the general manager, and the VP of operations, Len Anthony. Hey guys, we're glad to have you with us. And very much congratulations to our affiliate WTCM in Traverse City, Michigan, vacation capital of Michigan. You bet your life. 50 years young. I got a feeling that very few people in the station were even born when the whole thing began. So WTCM AM in Traverse City, congratulations. Ross Biederman is the GM. Ross doing a fine job. Off we go now to Tri-Cities, Washington. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great.
Super, what can we do for you?
I have a few questions about our business. We have a television VCR repair business.
Okay. Well, that must be kind of tough to stay up with VCRs.
Oh, they're always changing.
That's what I meant.
It is. It's tough. One of the things we started our business with was giving free estimates. And it's getting a little complicated because now we're getting so busy and we're having a lot of trouble finding a skilled technician to come in and actually help us. There's my husband and I do most of the work on VCRs. He does televisions and VCRs both.
Mm-hmm. What do you got? What background did you guys bring to this little mix? How did you learn how to do this stuff? Is what I'm getting at.
My husband has been training me over a period of time, and as the business progressed, I have done more and more of the work. But he's been in it for over 25 years.
Oh, I'd say that he's got a lot of experience.
Yeah, it's nice having an expert sitting behind you when you got a question.
Indeed.
But it's getting to the place where we'd kind of like to get away from the free estimate, because sometimes you can spend hours, to find out you've got a problem that somebody says, no, they didn't want to put much money into it in the first place.
Well, in that case, you could amend your policy in two ways. One, you could amend it to no free estimates. An estimate will cost such and such, or the charge for an estimate is, but this will be deducted from the bill in the event that you elect to have the work done.
Well, we've considered that. There's only one other television repair shop in the area that does charge estimates. So we get a lot of people saying, Well, we called you because you give free estimates.
Well, it may well be that if you do that, your business is liable to slide. But the alternative would be, as I said, to give the free estimate in the event that the work is done and only charge, there'll be a $20 charge for an estimate. However, you'll receive a $20 credit if the work is done. Or a $10 credit. Or a $25 credit. You give them $5 extra. I don't know.
Okay.
There are a lot of ways to work that out. Yeah. But the question is, you're doing well now.
Yeah, the business has been growing. In fact, we're having trouble finding an experienced technician. We've got a lot of kids coming in that would like to learn.
Yeah, but there's an expression that I think that you should be aware of, and if you're not, I want you to think about it.
Okay.
It ain't broken. Don't fix it.
I guess I'm missing it.
Well, what you're doing now is working. You're making money, right?
Oh, yeah.
And things are going well.
Yeah.
It ain't broken. Why are you trying to fix it?
Well, the problem is we're working till 8 o'clock at night.
Well, then don't take in so much work.
The young children. And
don't take in so much work or hire somebody else. But the system is not working. Yeah. Clearly, the system is not broken. Clearly, you are charging enough to overcome the free estimates currently. Is that not true?
Oh, basically.
No, that's not basically. Either you are or you're not. If you're showing a decent profit in whatever you are, if you are not, you are not. Which is it?
Well, I guess we're making a profit.
A decent profit. Decent return.
Well, that's where it's questionable. If we had somebody else in here, we could make a better profit and provide a job and give better service.
Well, do that.
We can't find anybody that's qualified.
You put enough money in there, you'll find somebody.
Oh, we've tried as far as 150 miles away to find somebody that's qualified.
All right, wait a while. It's hard for me to believe that it was 150 miles of your town. There's not somebody who's willing to work if you offer enough money. How much you want to pay?
Oh, we're willing to pay up to 40% commission.
What does that amount to in dollars a week?
Oh, boy, it depends on what kind of work they can put out.
Well, honey, you're talking around in circles. Serious. How much can I earn? I'm a qualified guy.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if you don't know, you can't be the boss. You gotta know. I'm looking for a job, and you can't even tell me how much I can make.
Oh, so you could make $500 to $800 a week.
All right, maybe you gotta pay $1,200 a week.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. Really. And I'm not being facetious. But if you can't find somebody to do a job, now, look, if you were asking for someone to do some kind of rare brain surgery, that may, but there's a zillion VCRs in this country. And there's a whole bunch of televisions in this country, and there's people fixing them every day. They got to be out there. Now, it could be you have to pay more than you want to pay or can afford to pay at your present rate structure. That's another program.
Yeah.
But I will
Well, one of the other things that we're facing is that there's the Hanford site out here, and so a lot of people, they pay quite a bit more. They get more benefits. They have to work less.
What's the Hanford site?
Hanford Atomic Energy
I'm not familiar with that.
Reservation.
Yeah.
Where they had made the nuclear bombs from World War II. Yeah, there's quite a large site out there.
Well, without regard to that, and I know you don't want to hear this. You put enough dough on the line, somebody's going to come walking through your door.
Okay. Well, when we get this good technician and our business grows, at what point would you think about incorporating it? Something else?
Out of incorporating the company, you mean? Making a corporation, I'd have had one before I opened my door. That's a personal point of view. I don't have any businesses that are not incorporated.
Well, we've had a couple accountants. One thinks that we should incorporate. The other one says we're opening a can of worms.
What can of worms?
Oh, the government's going to be, trying to audit us more.
Why? It's a brand new. Oh,
much money.
That's a lot of crap. Excuse me. That is.
So you think for even a young business and
I'm telling you, I have never owned it. Well, never. I haven't owned a business in years, and I've owned a ton of them that has not been a separate corporation. So, I've had subchapter S corps, had C corps. That's a different matter. The merits of that we could discuss another time. But if you're asking me would I own a business that wasn't incorporated, the answer is no. Now, I'm sure there are some. One is an insurance agency, which I'm told and frequently does not pay to incorporate for other reasons. But on balance, if I were running your business, it would be incorporated.
Would it be a separate?
Probably in your case, this is the only business you guys have, right?
Right.
Be a C corp.
A C corporation.
And I'd have an annual rather than a fiscal year in all likelihood.
Okay.
But make that decision, because when you start changing from annual to fiscal to annual, where they're different, then you're looking for trouble, looking for an audit.
I don't understand.
Well, you can have a calendar year, January to December 31st, or you can have a fiscal year. Pick a time.
So you think we should stay with the annual?
Whatever you choose, stay with it. I would, by and large, be more comfortable with the annual.
Well, that's what we've been doing, so probably just...
Well, no, you don't have any choice. You're not a corporation.
Yeah.
You've got to be on the calendar year. But a corporation can have a different fiscal year. I don't believe an individual can have. In fact, I'm quite certain of that. You can't elect to have a non-fiscal year, a non-calendar year.
Okay. Well, the one accountant we'd had said that we could start with whatever date we opened the business and make...
In the corporation.
No, just as a...
Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can. Maybe you can. I don't know. I've used the calendar year in almost every year. I just found out a company I own has a fiscal year today. I didn't know that. Said, we have to do that. No, we don't do that. We were in a March fiscal year. I didn't even know that, and I've owned the company for 3 years. What do you think of that?
Okay.
You know, not very smart on my part. It didn't matter, I guess, in this instance. But the point is, I would prefer to be a corporation. And as to your first problem, I think I've articulated my point of view. It may not be accurate, but I believe it to be.
Okay.
Otherwise, knock 'em dead, kid. But I really believe something, though. When it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Okay.
Don't change something that's working.
Alrighty.
I do wish you well, particularly in these somewhat unstable times. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet.
Austin, Salt Lake City, Richmond. You're part of the Talknet